All right, welcome YouTube. We are here for the first round pairings and the list matchups for the Wicked GT 2018. I'm joined by Rob, who's running the Wicked. I have Kenyon, Pete, and Jurand is going to be with us here soon. So everybody say hi.
Hey.
Hello.
Hello.
All right, Rob, why don't you just give us a quick overview of the tournament and matchups, and then we'll start getting into some lists.
All right. Well, again, my name is Rob Navarez. I am the owner and proprietor. I don't know if that's the right terminology, but I am the tournament organizer of the Wicked GT, one of the best grand tournaments, both sides of the Mississippi. This is now in its fourth year. Many of you will remember my twin brother. He and I used to co-run the Wicked GT, but he has since left gaming and it is now my baby. So, as I said, this is our fourth year. And we're looking forward to a good show.
I'm excited. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yep.
All right, so we have the first round matchups. Rob, I think these are still a little bit tentative, aren't they, until we know for sure who's coming?
Right. We do have a couple of grudge matches, which I pretty much like to set those in stone because give people an opportunity to do that. But for the most part, these after about the first four matches, they are subject to change.
Okay, so it looks like I'm grudged against Ethan. We have Karen against Eric, Kenyon and Dennis, and Pete and Jake. Those are all the grudge matches?
Yes.
All right, perfect. Well, let's just get straight into the lists. And
Start from the top.
I'm just looking to see who's supposed to be doing what, because we were waiting for Jurand, and it looks like Kenyon. Why don't we just start at the top, because you can do Ethan's with the Highborn Elves, and I'll do mine for the Undying Dynasties.
Okay, you talk about your list first. I'm going to pull up Ethan's list.
Okay, and I'm going to have everything up here on the screens too.
Okay. So go ahead with your list.
All right, so for Dark Wizard, I am trying the Undying Dynasties. I just got this army, so I've got a few practice games in. It's had a lot of changes since I first started on it. I was trying to run them more like the vampires, where it's a lot of raising, and that didn't work out well. So we switched over to the Terracotta army, where there's almost no raising on this.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're going to see, my commander and general is going to be basically on a chariot. I've got a big chariot block in here, and he has the Godslayer Great Weapon, which I did see the update where they're going to allow that multiple wounds against anything with just Aegis, so I'm very excited about that. But right now you have to have the Aegis and magical attacks for it to work with multiple wounds too. But it does give him poison attacks, divine attacks, magical attacks. The great thing about him is he gives the unit extra offensive, defensive, and aim. So he makes those just regular chariots quite a bit better. And he also gives them lethal strike. He's with Jackal's Blessing. He's going to be at a 6 for all the health points, and Terracotta gives him 6 as resistance, but he only has a 5-up armor and a 5-up regen. So if you can get through his toughness, then he is fairly easy to take out. Do have the Death Mass, which I can pick one enemy model, if it's a single model, or a character, and make them -1 to hit if they're within 12 inches of him. So that does make it nice if I'm worried about someone actually challenging him out. He can make that model do quite a bit worse. Or if I'm not even worried about them coming into that, but I think that model is going to be close to the battle, I can pick them. All right, moving down, running a BSB. A lot of people don't like BSBs with undead, but I am a big fan of those because it's going to be one less I crumble out when I lose, and will be losing quite a bit. The BSB, it's going to give the chariots basically an extra 4 on its march, and it has a banner of speed. So it gets the chariots where they're movement 9 and they're marching 16. So it makes that unit very quick, and that's really his whole purpose. With this, he does give the unit battle focus as well.
Still not 100% sure how I feel about battle focus in this version.
With that unit, I can't roll a 6 at all.
There you go.
And then my Death Cult, he's going to be a Wizard Master, and he has Essence of Mithril. So if he does end up on his own, he doesn't have to worry too much about getting shot down unless it's heavy shooting. Running a Binding Scroll on him. And the Sacred Hourglass allows me to re-roll any of my failed castings with 2 dice. So it really is, especially on cosmology, because with all my spells, it's pretty much a 7 or less to get it off, and I can throw 2, and if I miss it, re-roll it.
Yeah.
All right, Tomb Architect. This one is a lot more beneficial in a terracotta army because any model that's entombed or in insulated statue, whatever they call it, you can give a once per turn within 18 inches, you can give 5 up regen. And what happens with him is everybody with the terracotta army is now able to get that. So that can go on chariots, other units, monsters, pretty much anything. And he also has a Binding Scroll. All right, big block of 22 archers. They're just a standard archer with full command. Skeleton cavalry, 10 of those. Again, nothing special on those. They're just filling out the core there. And then I have the max unit with terracotta of chariots, which is 6 of them. And we did go with the upgrade, so they're no longer going to be light troop, so they become scoring. And then they also get devastating charge with +1 strength on the charge. And these guys benefit from the Undying Will, so they're going to be at offensive, defensive 5 with aim 4 on there. And they have the flaming standard. I'm not sure how it's going to work here. I haven't seen on the list, but in our meta, regen is very popular, so nobody brings a list without some sort of flaming standard in it to take care of the regen.
There's a couple. That'll serve you in a couple fights. I love this list.
Thank you. Then I have a Colossus. Went with Scales of Destiny because my Wizard Master is pretty much just going with everything that's an augment to basically heal up and boost my unit. So this gives me a couple of damage spells for the first couple of rounds when I really don't need to heal stuff. And then I have 1 Battle Sphinx and 1 Dread Sphinx. So whether it's infantry or a monster, other monsters, I've got a monster to take care of either one of them.
Yeah.
That chariot unit. So they're T5, or excuse me, R5. And they're going to be strength 5 on the charge with even their impact hits, right?
No, they're only 4 on their impact hits unless I boost them with magic, but the charioteers will be strength 5.
Oh, okay. So, and you can do that with Cosmo, you can boost strength. And then Cosmo also has the Truth of Time. I think we counted you could get an effective charge range of 27 with those chariots if you get that off. It's a nasty Death Star.
Yeah.
Chariot Star.
Yeah, it realistically 18, 19 inches becomes almost an automatic charge if you get Truth of Time off.
Refresh my memory on Truth of Time.
You get an extra dice when you're rolling for your charge, overrun, fleet pursuit, any of those, and it's not one. It's not that you take the exactly. So on chariots, I'm actually going 3d6, but I'm taking the highest of 4d6 that I'm rolling.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not an extra maximize roll, it's just literally an extra dice with a charge.
The maximize
Yes.
roll is now what that's called, right?
Yes.
Yes, they've got a turn for everything.
The trick with it is you have to get it off the magic phase before, because it doesn't work the magic phase coming up to that turn.
Right, that's true. Okay, I like the list. That chariot unit would definitely scare me.
Yeah, that chariot unit in the center, flanked by both the Sphinxes, is scary. That's a solid core right there.
Yeah.
The Dread Sphinx, he has autonomous, so I'm really liking the fact he doesn't have to be near my journal to march. So, and he also flies, so he's able to come around on the sides pretty easy.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and they always have to have that resilience 8, which is him do a lot of things.
Unless it's poison skinks or slayers, I'm all right with my toughness 8.
Yep.
All right. So let me go ahead and open up Ethan's list.
All right, looks like Ethan is running some Highborn Elves. I'll start with the commander. Looks like a commander on foot with High Warden of the Flame, which basically makes him like a Flame Warden, you know, with the 4+ Aegis, the MR1, and the magical attacks. And he's the BSB, and he's got the Rending Banner. And I'm assuming he's going to be in the unit of Flame Wardens.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, with only the strength 4, that extra AP helps out. And then next is General High Prince on it's basically the Lion Chariot general. He's got the Blessed Inscription, so he's got the Divine Attacks and Rerolling Wounds. Death Cheater gives him that 4+ regen and 1 other armor, and Talisman of the Void for the extra channel. This, of course, I think we all know is a great combo. The High Prince on the Lion Chariot, he's just...
Yeah, he's a beast.
Well, and with that great weapon giving him multiple wounds too, you know, against any of the towering presence, that's really good. And re-rolling if he fails to wound.
Exactly, yeah.
He's a monster killer.
Next up, we got the Mage on Order of the Fiery Heart Master. I believe that gives him, he has to choose between alchemy and pyromancy. And then this also gives him, he can cast Molten Copper into combat, I believe. And then, yeah, and if he successfully casts one of his spells, he gets +1 advance rate, +2 march, and +2 attacks. So make him a little more punchy in combat. You usually see this guy on a young dragon, but he's running them on foot, which is interesting. I don't know what unit he's going to put him in though, and it looks like he's going to be on alchemy.
He didn't have a dragon model.
Oh. Yeah, without a huge save, I don't think he wants to have them in any of his combat blocks.
Yeah, yeah. Looks like in core he's got 26 Citizen Spears with a Navigator Batter, which gives him the distracting first round of combat. Next up, we got some Reavers, 5 of them, assuming just some chaff. You know, 25 Sea Guard, which is I think is a not very common appearance in a Highborn list, but they're very versatile. And let's see here. Next, we have a 24 block of the Flame Wardens, which I'm assuming the BSB is going to be in. Got the Banner of Rima in here, which gives them the Devastating Charge, +1 Strength, +1 AP.
Uh-huh.
The Banner of Rima is kind of rough when it lofts the Swiss Stride. It's putting on infantry because I know they're movement 5, but it is harder to get a charge off with them without that Swiss Stride on there.
Mm-hmm. It's an interesting combination there.
Yeah. Dwarves
got 2 Giant Eagles as chaff. And I think, is there anything else beyond that? Oh, yes, of course.
Nice. Got some Reapers.
We got the Lion Chariot, just a naked Lion Chariot by itself, and then 3 Reapers. So it looks like all the shooting's in those Reapers.
Now, are those still like they've always been? They can fire 2 ways? I'm not familiar with that. Can they still shoot the single bolt or the multiple?
Yeah.
Those have always been somewhat dependable.
So it looks like he's got like kind of 3 blocks with his characters in it, 3 Reapers in the back, 1 Lion Chariot character, 1 Lion Chariot, and then some chaff, 2 Eagles and some Reavers.
So we talked about this list a little bit, and I'm really glad he kept the Eagles in there because I felt like this list needed some chaff, and those Eagles are really helping him with that, as well as even the Reavers.
Yeah. I think that chaff is really going to help with the Chariots, and the Flame Warden block needs the charge, I think.
Yeah, if he does it right, he gives himself, he's got plenty of chaff to help set up that charge that he really wants with the Flame Wardens.
Mm-hmm.
And those Flame Wardens, you just cannot discount that 4-up Aegis. I mean, they can save so many of those and completely turn a combat.
Oh yeah, sure. What's going to help him is definitely running Alchemy on his Mage. That reroll to hit if he gets that Flaming Attacks Flammable combo off. That's really going to help him out.
Absolutely.
Yeah. against so many high toughness monsters, there's he really will need that to help bring some of your stuff down before you get in.
And speaking of matchup, I think he drew a hard matchup with you, Mike.
Yeah.
Well, we actually grudged. We've been talking about lists for a while, and he really knows Undying Dynasty, so he's pretty excited about picking my list apart for sure.
I think he's just gonna have a hard time with your Sphinxes.
Yeah, he needs something stronger than the bolt throwers to really take him down from a distance. So he's going to have to hope to get in there with one of the lion chariots, especially the Lord with the lion chariot.
Yeah.
I will say in that matchup, I feel that a lot of it is going to come down to maneuvering, because there's plenty of chaff there, and it'll be interesting to see who outmaneuvers who.
I agree with that, and I'm not too scared about the main chariot or the regular chariot, but the prince with the royal hunt being able to re-roll, because he'll need 6s to wound any of my sphinxes, and if he can re-roll those, that'll start getting pretty rough, because that's 2 wounds each as he gets them through.
Multiple wounds.
Yeah. If he can get hot on the dice and get some 6s going with him, you can blow through your Sphinx if he gets those 6s.
Yeah. Overall, I really like his list. I think it's going to be a very versatile list for everybody this weekend.
There's plenty there you got to respect.
All right, so where's everybody think on the matchup on this one?
Mike, I think you got it with your Sphinxes. I think you're gonna get them.
Pete, where do you?
You know, I agree. It's a really hard matchup to take all those high toughness wounds down. It just depends. It's going to be real swingy. I mean, you're seeing a dice roll where you roll in a third of them are 6s or something. You don't have much armor on the Sphinxes, so shooting the Sea Guard and then the 18 shots from the 3 bolt throwers, I could see him taking down 1 monster in a turn. Just roll a lot of 6s. You don't get much of an armor save, but it's going to be very RNG. So I definitely think it's advantage you, and he's got to play carefully with his chaff, because if your chariot gets into one of his blocks, that block goes away.
True.
Just poof.
All right, so we move on to the next grudge match.
Let's do it.
All right, so we have Karen and Eric. So let's see here. Karen is Saurian Ancient, so I believe that is going to be you, Kenyon.
That is me.
Let me get her list up.
All right. Karen, by the way, Karen's the best. She's awesome. She's the best person to play against ever.
Everybody would rather play Karen than me, hands down.
You got a Saurian warlord, looks like on foot, with the glory of the Dawn Ages, which is just brutal sometimes. He's also got the Death Cheater, so the 4+ regen, and Lucky Charm reroll his 1 armor save. So this has got a Saurus veteran BSB with the totem of Mixiotl. I think that's how you pronounce it. I love this banner. It's really good, again, especially with Saurus. It gives him the hard target, and then also in 1 round of combat, it gives the opponent -3 offensive skill. So it gives you 1 round of combat of like just being safe.
This is what she really needed with the Saurus Wars, because they tend to die every game, and having that banner on there makes such a difference for her.
Oh yeah. And she's running 1 Skink Priest. It looks like it's an adept on a palanquin with the book of the book, so +1 to cast, and a sum tablet, so she gets to choose through all the spells. She doesn't have to worry about picking 1 through 4. And she's running Shamanism. Shamanism, which I really like. I'm running Saurian also, and it's the Skink Priest on Shamanism really works well with those Saurus blocks. The 1 spell, what is it called? Awaken the Beast or whatever it is.
Yeah, I can see right now she has an error on her list. The priest on the palanquin is the adept, and the apprentice is the next one, and so I think that's got reversed on her list when she put it together.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I'll make sure that's fixed, and that's probably my fault it got put in that way.
2nd Skink Priest on Druidism, and just so she just has the Healing Waters, the 4+ regen, which is always helpful. Looks like a 30 block of Saurus Warriors with a Flaming Standard. And they have hand weapon shield. 17 skink braves.
They're actually spear, and they're the serpent warriors too.
Oh, I'm sorry, that was my bad. I didn't see the spear. And then 17 skink braves. We have 1 spearback, 1 spearback, 1 salamander, which are great chaff. And then 1, 2, 3 Taurosaurs. I already looked at this before.
Yes.
The triple Taurosaur, I love it. One's got the engine.
Is the Taurosaur the Triceratops?
Yeah, the Stegodon.
Okay.
One's got Engine of the Ancients, which is going to help with the 5+ ward save bubble. Sorry, Aegis save.
Oh, take a drink.
I guess I can take a drink. That one. There you go, guys. Look at the fellow here. All right. And then the other 2, I believe, had giant bows on them, which you know, you get a lucky roll with them. They can help out.
Strength 5 against a lot of stuff is nothing to sneeze at for sure with multiple wounds.
And then we just have 2 snake swarms, which are fun again, especially with if they're chaffing up cavalry. They're great with their special rule, which is anytime they get charged, the charger takes a DT1 test.
Or 40 block units. That's always fun to take your elites in there and lose 8 of them on a charge.
Yeah. And then lastly, 3 Pterodon sentries. It looks like they just have javelins and no shields, just so naked pterodons.
Those are not the frenzy frog, chase the frog thing ones.
These are the ones that drop rocks and are have the feigned flight, so they can come back after fleeing.
Okay. I will say, of all the name changes, Saurian Ancients they have some names that are really hard to pronounce.
Good thing we have Kenyon talking about them.
They're great. Everyone loves dinosaurs.
All right, and then Eric's list, we don't have that yet, so we won't be able to actually see what the matchup is. Rob, do you know what army he's playing?
Yeah, he is playing the Kingdom of Aquitaine, and for those of you that have played him in the last couple of years, he put together an NFL-themed Kingdom of Aquitaine army, and all of his guys are specific, I guess, heroes of his that are Hall of Fame guys, and they've got the jersey numbers, and they're painted like their specific team. It's a really cool-looking army, and I know it's centered around mostly Cav. I mean, he's got, I think, 4 units of knights, a couple of trebuchets, and I know that he uses the low point characters on the horse for chaff, and those actually work really well. But if you know Eric, he's a good player, and regardless of what the rules are, he's a good player. So yeah, I'm supposed to see him tomorrow, and I'm sure he'll have a list for me tomorrow. But that's probably about what his list is going to look like.
Maybe you'll have a couple of those monster killer lords in there.
Yeah, he traditionally he has, but like I said, it's been a while since he played, so I had to direct him to the new rule set this past week, and we'll see what he comes up with.
Awesome. Well, overall, I think Karen's list is very solid. She's just going to need to make sure that those Tarsaurs get her charges and support the big block, and I think she'll do all right.
Yeah, I think Karen has a little bit of an advantage here because I think she's going to win the chaff battle, and that's going to be really good against that's King of Aquitaine. And then if she gets those counter charges with those Taurosaurs, I think she's got a chance.
So the one thing I will say about Karen, she judges her games on how many of the totemic summon monsters she brings on. So no matter what magic she should be doing, that is her one goal. She always brings 4 of the Caimans just to bring them on the backfield.
That's awesome.
Well, that's not an uncommon goal. That's what a lot of players do. It's pretty effective strategy, even if she's doing it for a fluffy reason.
Oh, I think she had one of those that took out your cannon, didn't it?
That's right. It was
the team tournament.
She breathed. So with the team tournament, turn 1, she brings it out. I was like, okay, that's fine. We'll deal with it. She breezes 12 hits and killed the cannon. Only cannon turn 1. And she's like,
that was the highlight of the team tournament for her.
Oh yeah, Those totemic summons are hard to deal with. And the guy that comes on, he's not like a little scrub. He's resilience 5, and you got to take care of him.
You have to devote resources.
You want one or two running around your backfield. It hurts.
Really does. All right, so let's check out the next matchup. So we're going to have Kenyon and Dennis. So let me get both of these queued up.
So this is my list. So I decided to take a really, I think it's pretty fluffy, but I think it's a list that can do some damage. But it's just a really fun list, and I'm really excited about it.
You're more excited for the other opinion.
I'm excited. Let's see. I've got 2 Cayman Ancients. One's my General. One's my BSB. The General has Basalt Infusion, so +1 armor. So they have 2+ total, and he gets a 2+ against flaming attacks. And then the BSB has just a +1 Alchemist Alloy, so 2+ total, and then Lucky Charm to reroll one of those. Then after that, I've got 5 Skink Captains that are just naked with additional hand weapons.
So funny.
They are awesome. And then below that, I have a Skink Priest on a Palanquin with the Altar the Snake God upgrade, so it gives hatred to the unit. He's got the Jade Staff, so he has the Bound Spell Healing Waters, and the Magical Heirloom, so he has a hereditary spell for Sorin Ancients, which is the Spark of Life, which is really good. It's just a D6 Strength 5 or D6 Strength 6 hits.
Nice.
And then he's got since he's on the Palanquin, he gets an additional Shamanism spell, so he has 5 spells basically. And I'm only spending, 390 points? I think he's pretty awesome.
And he gives a unit poison, doesn't he?
No, the banner in the unit gives it poison.
Okay, that's what it is.
Yeah, he gives the unit hatred.
Okay.
Is that Plaque of the Snake God that gives hatred?
Yes.
That is,
and then below that is a 40 points with the Tree Fog Banner, which gives the poison. So basically, the Skink Priests and all the Skink Captains are in this unit, and it can pump out 40 rerolling to hit poison attacks.
The Skink Star.
Yeah, the Skink Blender. That's what I like to call it.
You've always liked that Skink Blender.
I do. It's fun. It's so much fun. And then let's see. I've got 2 units of 15 Skinks with bows, and then 1 unit of 15 Skinks with just hand weapon shield. You guys are basically chaff and just shoot a little bit before you get to me. And then I've got 2 units of 6 Cayman with just halberds. And the Cayman Ancients each one's going to go in one of these units. Because the Cayman Ancient actually gives these units fear now. They don't have fear normally, but with the character in them, they get fear.
So I'm not seeing any champions in these.
No, I am not a champion guy.
Really? You don't find that for the challenge out that it's worth throwing the points on?
He's got 5 Skink Wool Warriors for challenges. He doesn't need no more.
But for the Cayman units.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to get the block on them.
All right.
And then below that, I've got 2 units of Pterodon Sentries with the Fire Bolas. These are basically elite chaff. I like to call them elite chaff. And then right below that, I am maxed out on weapons beasts. I've got 2 units of 2 spearbacks and 1 unit of 2 salamanders. So basically, the game plan is to have the Pterodon Sentries to run away and try to come back with feigned flight as much as I can, and then just shoot as much as I can with these weapon beasts. That's the main game plan.
That is a lot of shooting. It doesn't look like it, but that is a ton of shooting right there.
Do those shoot like volley guns, or what's the rules on those?
The spearbacks, each one, 4 bases of them, but each base does 2d6 shots, usually hitting on 5s or 4s, and strength 4, AP 2.
Yep.
Salamander, each base does a flamethrower artillery weapon. So
okay, don't roll a 1.
Or rower flank in front of me, I do D6 plus additional D3 for every beyond that.
I like that. Okay, that is a lot of shooting.
Yeah, it is.
And those spearbacks are going to always stand and shoot if they can, and they don't take a penalty for stand and shooting.
Exactly.
So it's rough to charge them.
Wow. That is impressive.
I love this list. This is an outside the box list. I don't think I've ever. I mean, you came up with this, right? You didn't get this from somewhere else. I've never seen anything like this.
This is on me. It's been my life quest since starting to play Lizardmen back in 5th edition or whatever it was, 5th or 4th. It's just I think skinks are super cool, and I think saurus are boring and dumb. And so I'm always trying to run an all skink, no saurus, no quaddle list, and this is what is my.
Yeah, I like the 2 unit 6 caimans as well.
Mm-hmm. Those caiman always do work, man.
Yeah. This is a deadly list. Great shooting. And then I wouldn't, if I fought this list with mine, I wouldn't go into the skink blender because I would die so quick. I would just chaff it up. I don't know what I would do versus that.
Yeah, the big thing is all the characters, all those skink captains all have agility 5. I'm sorry, agility 6. So they are striking really quick.
And you have the option to turn them into chaff in a pinch, and you have the option to take down. If you find another big brick, you've got the 2 flamethrowers to whittle that down.
Exactly. The game plan is chaff as much as I can, and then have my weapon teams just blow you to bits.
So on those flamethrowers, my question is, since there's 2 of them together, do you roll 2 dice and make sure that either of them are 1/1, or do you just roll 1 dice for that?
You roll 2 dice. If you roll a 1 on either one of them, you take a wound.
Okay.
And then one of them doesn't shoot. I definitely have shot with them and rolled double 1s and like kick myself.
I like putting those together because then you get that guaranteed backup. That I mean, it's very rare you're going to roll 2 1s and one of them doesn't shoot.
So, a little story. At Adepticon, I was running 2 units of 2 salamanders, and I played a noble who's actually at this tournament. He was playing Warriors of the Dark Gods, and he had a unit of like 50 barbarians with great weapons or something like that. And I shot both units of salamanders into them, and I took off, I think, over half the unit.
Yeah. Because the 2 thrown together will be simul, right? They're not sequential, so you'll get the full ranks for each one.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Very solid list. I'm excited to see how this one works out.
I like it.
All right, shall we check out your grudge match?
I grudge Dennis because every single tournament Dennis and I have been at together, we have somehow, for some reason, played each other. And the tournament, the current standing is we're about even. I think I've beat him twice and he beat me twice. So this is the big grudge match. I gotta keep that series in my favor.
His nemesis.
So on Dennis's list, the only reason this has got a flag on it is he just hadn't marked whether his hero's heart was a hand weapon or a paired weapon. So when everybody sees the red, that's what's going on there.
I got it.
And Rob, I think you're up to go over this one. And while you do that, I'm gonna actually put Karen on, Master Gunner Karen. She's gonna talk for through this list as well, and then I'll come back on after this.
Okay.
Hi, Karen.
Well,
Hey, Karen.
Hi, fellas. How's everybody today?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, thank you.
Okay, we're gonna dive right into the vermin swarm here, and looks like Dennis has got his Plague Patriarch as the general, which I've never seen. And it's he's riding the Plague Pendulum, which is making a comeback. I've seen several competitive lists have this. I've started adding mine back in. The one thing I do like, it's got a ram and a crew attack. So when it charges, it always does D6 plus 2, but when it charges, they're strength 6. But if it doesn't charge, they're strength 5. So that makes a really big difference if you're able to get the charge off on it. Looks like he gave him the Hero's Heart, which is a solid all-around weapon. I actually prefer that weapon a lot of the times. And it's just, you can count on so much. So when you put it on this Plague Patriarch, he's got 3 base, an extra for Hero's Heart, and an extra for paired weapons. And he's also got Hatred. So this guy can dish out some damage along with he also has Battle Focus. So he can bring a lot of attacks. And I like this guy, though. Like I said, I've never seen him as the general. So he is pretty well backed up on the pendulum with toughness 5, 5 wounds, and a 4 up ward. Got to grind a little bit through that, but so
The
there's that.
Pairngs their big rule is they're basically their grind attack is pretty strong, right?
Right, yeah, and it's the big chariot based thing, and it's like I said, if it does D6 plus 2 grind attacks or D6 plus 2 impact hits, and if it's grind, they're strength 5. If it's impact, they're strength 6.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Yep.
so that's and then like I said, the thing's just got a ton of attacks. 8 attacks on the crew that all have battle focus and hatred. They are strength 3, but there's just a lot of attacks, and with occultism, you can really make some interesting combos. So that's the general there. Looks like the chief. Looks like he's just a regular chief. Did give him the Talisman of the Void. Again, another combo I've seen a lot on a lot of Vermin Swarm lists. Don't make him too terribly expensive. Look, we gave him paired weapon and tail weapon, heavy armor, shield. So yeah, we just gave him the upgrade for the Void, which the way the magic phase works, I think that Talisman of the Void getting an extra Veil token is huge.
Yep.
Then he's also got a Magister here with the magical heirloom, which I also like that magic item a lot. He's going to Thaumaturgy, and the magical heirloom lets you take your hereditary spell in addition to, like, if you know 2 spells, you get your hereditary plus 2 spells. So that's a pretty solid item for 40 points.
And what does his hereditary do for him?
The Vermin Swarm hereditary is 2d6 strength 4 AP 2 attacks, and it is a missile. But it does have callus, so you can cast it.
One of the best. It's really good.
Yeah. So and it's you can cast it into close combat, like Skaven do. And it's that's just a solid. You can do it up to 24 inches, just solid spell. Strength 4 AP 2, cure a lot of your ills. So looks like the big unit is the Plague Brotherhood. Looks like he runs his exactly how I run mine. Full command group there. Again, these are a lot of strength 3 attacks, battle focus. The Acula of Ruin. They've changed it with the new version, but in this current version, it allows you to add your rank bonus to your combat score even when you're in line formation, which a lot of people run their Plague Brotherhood in line formation, so they get the extra rank of attacks, plus they could still add the ranks. And that's not bad for 40 points. Next after that, Vermin Guard. Went with a max unit of 30. The Lightning Rod is an amazing item. He's got looks like a full command here, and I found out, real quick story, I found this out the hard way at Corner Hammer. I had a unit of Vermin Guard, and for one of the versions, they were just on their profile, they were strength 3, AP 1, and then they also had halberds, so they were strength 4, AP 2, and in one of those updates or something, they changed it, and I had been doing strength 4, AP 2 to everyone, and then one of the guys I was playing said, "Are you sure?" And so we looked it up, and it was just gone. And I had been cheating a few people, but they were strength 4 AP 2 for a little while, and then they were just gone. So they are not AP 2 anymore. So with halberds, they're strength 4 AP 1, but a solid unit. And what makes them even better is their lightning rod, which as you can see, it's a 1-use only. It can only go on the BSB or Vermin Guard, but it gives the entire army hard target, and you cannot fly. So that's a solid one turn where you can really slow some things down.
Every time I see Vermin Guard, I know there's going to be a lightning rod. That seems like that's where it goes every single time.
Yeah, well, it's interesting that he's got 30 because most people just run the small minimum unit of 20 with the lightning rod.
Right.
But that's they're, for me, the biggest issue I had, they're more expensive vermin that just die in swarms. It's hard to keep them alive. But he's got a unit of 30 there, and then a unit of 25 rat at arms. Looks like, again, full command, champion musician, yep. Full command there. Looks like just light armor shield, just a scoring unit. Meat grinder, one of my favorites. 2d6 impact hits or grind attacks. Strength 4, AP 2, and it does have a 2-up armor save with 2 wounds, so that a lot of people tend to put a lot of focus on that once they're attacking close combat. Gutter blades. Always good at what they do, scout and ambush. They're good at hitting, cannons, war machines are good at that. Quick, they have poison attacks, so 5 of them there. Looks like that's what they're going to be set up doing. And 3 weapon teams, 2 of which are rotary gun, and 1 is a globe launcher. I like what they did with all the weapon teams. They're 18-inch volley guns now, which, meaning if you roll the 2 6s, they're in trouble. 1 6, they're -1, but other than that, they really are a lot more dependable that way in terms of being a long-time Skaven player, because you always had to run with that risk of killing yourself. So weapon teams are pretty dependable, and I like the rotary gun. It did lose its 6 inches of range. It used to be 24, but now it's 18, and you can still move with no penalty. So it's an effective range of 23 inches. But those are good at chaff and taking a lot of their strength 4 shots. The globe launcher, again, is the same way. You roll 2 dice, and it does that many hits, but then those come in at toxic attacks. So that will kill a lot of knights, and especially if you're doing toughness 3 knights. That's a good weapon to have. Okay, then after the globe launcher there, Dennis mixing things up. All right, got a lightning cannon. Lightning cannon is like any other cannon, just roll to hit. But it is strength is D6 plus 4. And it's also lightning attacks, and then it does the D3 plus 1. The clip wings and all that. So lightning cannon got a plague catapult. Same thing, shoots just like a catapult. The good thing I like about that one is that it also hits you with toxic attacks, so that can really cause some damage as well. And then the 2 abominations, which I love. I love 2 abominations. I like their. If you know me, you know how much I hate ambush, and I think that it should completely go away from the game. But since
big cost to bear, the ambush.
Yeah, not abominations are good at patrolling ambush. And a lot of people on the vermin swarm community are up in the air. They're kind of there. It's just 3d6. That's 3d6 worth of attacks for me to just fail to hit rolls, because it usually needs 4s. But I've had good luck with my abominations. I think they're good monsters. The random movement helps a lot in some tough situations, and they're stubborn, which is huge. So I like 2 abominations. I know a lot of people won't, but I'm a fan of 2 abominations. So there's that. Looking at the list, he's got a lot of shooting. And then, like I said, Kenyon, you are gonna have to respect the 2 abominations. Those aren't things you can just leave alone. So
A-bombs are my
matchup. I know that his general with Big Plague Brotherhood is gonna that could cause some damage to us, like a skink block. Be interesting to see if those 2 met head to head, how that would turn out.
Yeah, I was thinking that myself. I don't know if I could one shot the actual pendulum with poison in one turn. Maybe I couldn't. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a lot like like you said, a blender. If that happened, that'd be like a big blender right in the middle of the battlefield. A lot of attacks, a lot of battle focus, a lot of hatred. So be a good matchup.
That meat grinder is going to really chew through those skinks too, and even the caimans.
Yeah, true. Do the meat grinders hit at initiative order?
They
Yes.
do. They're initiative 4, 2d6, strength 4, AP 2 attacks.
But their attack is an impact hit if they charge.
Yeah, if they charge, yeah.
Okay.
And remember, they changed them a couple versions back where all weapon teams and the meat grinders have 2 wounds. So that's a big help for vermin. So if you want to direct attacks on it, make sure you can get enough to do 2 wounds to it.
But aren't they like a 2-up armor save or something?
They are.
Yes.
The meat grinder is a 2-up in armor in close combat. Yeah.
So caimans could get through it, but those skinks are just going to struggle against it.
Yeah.
And then there's the 2d6 roll. Could be a 3 as easily as it could be a 9. So, but the good thing for the vermin swarm player is that those are hits. You don't have to worry about rolling the hit. Those are actual hits.
Well, speaking as one of the people on the list we're reviewing, I think I have the advantage. But I want to hear what you guys have to say.
He doesn't have much in the way of chaff, and it looks like he's got a lot of points into his magic use, which between thaumaturgy and a couple of occultism spells. Could be interesting, which way that's gonna go. But yeah, don't watch out for beware of the comet. He's got the comet on thaumaturgy, so
I will have to worry about that. I've got a lot of small units that the comet could really hurt.
And you don't have a binding scroll, do you, Kenyon?
I do not know.
Yeah, I'm going to give you the slight advantage on this, but you're going to have to be very careful with your matchups to make that skink poison work.
Yeah, I agree.
also don't forget with the Plague Patriarch alive and the 2 abominations, it's 3 stubborn units.
Ugh. No, isn't the Vermin Guard are stubborn also, right?
No, Vermigard aren't stubborn, no. But if he's got 30, and if he, depending on how he lines them up, they could be real deep ranks, and they could have some good steadfast action.
Hopefully I can flame them down before I get to them. So.
They do die pretty easily, I'll say that.
I can't call this one. I would just have to say I agree it's matchup dependent.
Yeah.
It looks like
Jurand?
Yeah, Jurand joined us. Hey, Jurand, how are you?
Everyone can't hear you.
All right, must be working on his volume.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up?
There he is.
Jurand?
Oh, getting here right in time, you know. Black Brotherhood, Vermin Ground, right at home.
We were just
Absolutely.
talking about how good Vermin Swarm are.
Yeah, they're absolute best OP right now.
So you're just in time. As a rat player, we need your opinion on the Vermin Swarm with Dennis versus Kenyon for the first round matchup. What are you thinking on that?
Oh, wow. Okay. Kenyon he has a lot of stuff, as I remember. I have to open up his list.
Yeah, there's a lot of skinks and a lot of skink captains in that list.
Yes. Skink, 40 Skink Brave, 15 Skink Braves, 6, 12 Caimans, Weapon Beast, Peerback. Oof. Against Dennis with his BS. So he has a thaumaturgy, but he doesn't have a comet, as I remember correctly, right?
No, you should have.
He has a wizard adept, yes.
Yeah, he's a wizard adept, so he doesn't have the comet.
Yes, he doesn't. But
Good catch on that.
He has 2 abominations, and you know, abominations can go crazy with 4 upward saves. It all depends on his dice, how far will they go, and will Kenyon be able to deal with them in time. Last time I played Kenyon, he just loved those 2 A-bombs. I have to give a slight edge to Dennis on this one.
Oh no!
Oh man!
I know everybody knows this. So I think if Kenyon can deal with, okay, let me open up the. If Kenyon can deal with the Black Pendulum and those 2 A-bombs, he's gonna absolutely roll over the Vermin Storm, but it's gonna be really hard for him to win this combat with the Black Patriarch on the Black Pendulum with the support from the Occultism and Thaumaturgy and 2 A-bombs and Red Arms with Meat Grinder over there.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see how this goes. So let's move on to the next one. So we have our last grudge match, which is going to be Pete and Jake.
I would just like to say this is going to be a good matchup. 2 good players as well.
All right, Pete, you're up. Let's talk about your list.
Okay, so I've got Guildcrafted Handgunners, which I love. Jury's kind of out of this for a lot of people, but I love them.
We're getting some background noise from somebody. Do we know what's going on there?
Probably maybe me. I'm gonna change my settings so I'm gonna press the button when I'm speaking.
All right, sounds good.
Anyway, but in 0.204, they're no longer limited, so you can fill your core with them. But anyway, I'm going with the Guildcrafted Handgunners. I've got a cannon, Runecrafted Organ Gun. Let's see, 10 Seekers. They got Skirmish and Vanguard, 22 Seekers, champ in each one. I got 2 Dragon Seekers. I built these to try and be all comers. So the first guy is he has what's it called? Grim Resolve. So he's base 6 attacks because he has the weapon that's enchanted as a paired weapon. And he gets +1 attack per model in base-to-base combat or contact, no limit. So he's going to have a minimum of 7 attacks. And then he's going to be OS 8, and they're naturally lethal strike. And then he's striking an agility 10. I think agility caps, right?
Yes.
Yeah, otherwise he'd be 11. And then he's multi-wound defeat versus everything. So he's built to be a threat to everything. Now, whether he actually kills the thing he fights is up in the air, and he's got virtually no defense. But he's going to be hitting first, or at the very least simul, and get those multi-wound attacks off. So he's a threat to anything on the table, and that was the idea. So he's never going to be wasted. The other Dragon Seeker is more of a traditional one. I gave him the one that's multi-wound 2 versus, and I got buffed in point 2. It's versus anything large or gigantic now, which is great. So to work on chariots and all kinds of other stuff.
Wait, does that work as large now, or is it large in the next version?
No, right now. See, it says they're 2 against large and gigantic. So
wow.
versus chariots, versus any kind of large model, it's multi-wound 2, which is fantastic. It used to be a weird subset of categories that he'd get it versus, but now it's just large, gigantic. So multi-wound 2 versus that stuff, and then he's also initiative agility 10, and then he's got smashing, which makes him strength 10 versus R5 or higher. So he's a more dedicated monster killer.
Rob, I think you had a question for Pete, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, how does the Grim Resolve work if they are in a challenge? Well,
that's a great question. I actually had this resolved by one of the rules guys. So challenge says you're considered to be in base-to-base contact. So it's what the model's physically base-to-base into, but let's say that I'm in base contact with 2 models. That's going to be 8 attacks. And then the guy who's not in base-to-base contact challenges me, and I accept, and I'm also considered to be in base-to-base contact with him, and I'll get an extra attack. So it'd be 9 attacks.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
yeah.
Damn.
Wow.
He's Gotrek. He's basically like Gotrek, but I think that was designed after. But when you don't take a king, you've got all these 1 per army runes that you can make your Dragon Seekers really cool with.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've got 2 Vengeance Seekers, which
love those.
Have been called the best chaff in the game, and I kind of agree with that. They went up in cost in 0.203 by 5 points. I still bought them. They're going up 5 points again in 0.204. I'm still going to buy them. They're really, really good. To see one of those little guys hold up an entire brick with like 1 wound left on them, and so you get the flank charge off. It's a thing of beauty.
Well, being that distracting, it just makes them so tough. And then if you have any magic to buff them, I mean, it can be really tough to get through those.
Yeah, your opponent can't ignore them. So, and they're cheap. Miners with throwing weapons. These are the new pistol miners for 0.20. This pistol miners with paired weapons. Very nice. You can score with them, or you can pop out and do 20, potentially strength 4 hits. And they're great. They're going to be charging at strength 5 with paired weapons. So they're the threat you can't ignore if they come out on your rear or flank. 2 steam bombers. 12 Greybeards. I'm not super satisfied with my core, but the main reason I got Greybeards was that I don't have a BSB because I don't need one for the Seekers. But I wanted something to stop panic. So I wanted to reroll against panic. So they pop an organ gun, and then my handgunners panic off the table or something. So I took the Greybeards as sort of a BSB out of core, sort of ghetto BSB. And they've got throwing weapons, so they're no slouch actually. They're good in combat as a flanking unit.
Rule, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah, so within 6 inches, you get to reroll panic checks, and they're immune to panic themselves.
Okay. I like that as a feeling for the BSB. That's good.
Yeah, out of the core points. And then they have throwing weapons, so if chaff gets in or whatever, you get the opportunity. I mean, you're going to reroll 24 dice, hitting on 5, strength 4. It's no slouch.
Yeah, there you
So
go.
they can do some output.
I like that.
And then 17 Spear Warriors, which is not very dwarfy, but I mean, spears are pretty good now. They have Vanguard, so it's nice to have
actually have models with spears?
Huh?
Do you actually have models with spears?
Well, I actually have models there. The dwarves in my clan have they're called spaxes. They're axes where if you by a cleverly concealed mag device, you press a button and a spearhead will pop out the top. Mine happened to be modeled as retracted, but
oh, that's great.
Model agnostic. Okay, so engineer is my general, and he's just there to. I mean, I don't have a non-secret combat brick, so it made sense just to take a cheap general. There's just hide him, and he gives some buffs to the army. Not only does he buff the war machine, but I've got a rune of denial on him, which is like an old school dispel scroll for something clutch, and then ancestral memory. So I've got a hatred to give out for the army. So
is the rune of denial still? You have to eat the spell first.
No, rune of denial is just like dispel scroll. So you cast a spell, and instead of rolling, I say, you know what, dispel it. It's one use, and that's it. Doesn't eat it, just dispels it.
Okay.
So, and anyone can take that, which is nice.
Solid. I like it.
Thanks.
This is a rough list against a lot of people. I mean, if you can't get through those seekers, that's going to be tougher. I mean, and with everything being basically unbreakable on your front line.
Well, it's a lot of initiative 10 attacks too.
Yeah.
Those 2 characters are just rough.
Yeah, that's a tough list.
It's vulnerable to evasion, but there's none in. No, I don't think anybody's playing evasion shooting because Pablo's not coming. So I dodged a bullet there.
Oh, I just noticed your unit of 10 is skirmishers. Do you have a character with them?
For the seekers?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could put one or both of the Dragon Seekers in it and skirmish up, Vanguard up with them and keep them in the skirmish unit. It's nice because you'll have lateral movement with it, so you can zone all kinds of units. You can zone flying monsters or whatever and keep them from getting in your back line.
Yeah, and you had Vanguard on another unit too, didn't you?
Just the spears. Like a Vanguard and the spears. That's for certain scenarios and depending how the setup goes, just to pressure a flank. And then Vanguard and, of course, the skirmish seekers, and then the one ambush.
I like it.
Absolutely. It's a tough list.
Thanks. You guys will be played well, though.
You'll do great. All right, and then so you're going against Jake, so let's pull up his list.
Motherfucking Murphy.
Jurand, are you going to be taking the Where's the Dark Gods list?
Yeah, actually, I played this list against Pete on Universal Battle 2 days ago, so I kind of understand it, more or less. So let me open that on my thing.
Hey, I'm going to
he has a
second, guys. I'll be right back.
All right.
He has a sorcerer that's on foot. He has the Reckoning, so he collects the tokens from people from his models dying around him within 12 inches. He has 1,000 of the Void, which gives him extra channel, and he's a wizard adept with a path of alchemy. He's just a 6-up armor save, cheap wizard. He's going to be going into the unit of warriors most likely, unless he's going to be running around with somewhere behind with the Fallen, but I don't believe so. Anyway, he's not a big threat, really. What's really threatening in this list is the Exalted Herald. I mean, this guy is really nasty. I have to open up the book for those guys.
But they get 4 choices on which ones they can do.
Choices. So
yeah, but
basically, yes, he can. In the battle against Pete, it's pretty obvious what he's going to choose. He's going to go with the hard target, and at the end of each of your melee phases, he's going to be healing 1 wound if he's going to be on the winning side of combat. And he's going to get a Break the Spirit, which is going to be an awesome spell against Pete, because it's going to... Besides what the spell does itself, the attribute is going to make it so that Pete cannot wound him on any better than 5+ in close combat, which is really great. And most likely he's gonna go with Wizard Master and the Veil Walker, which is gonna allow him to take Glory of Gold, which is not gonna really come in that handy, but also a Wrath of God, which against dwarves is a must-have. If you can have it, you got to have it.
No, you're right. You're talking crazy. He's going to take the +1 leadership. I just know.
I mean, yeah. Well, he's going to replace probably the Wrath of God with the Hellfire, right? Because that's the way to go.
Wrath of God with having where he can re-roll the wounds on that is brutal.
Exactly. Exactly. So he's going to have a 4-up Aegis. He's going to be stubborn. He's a wizard. He's going to be Wizard Master, so he's going to get +1 to cast this Wrath of God. He's going to be tough to deal with. And also, he's going to have a Chosen Lord with the Envy marker, Favor of Envy. He's going to have a Burning Portrait, so his armor penetration is going to be set to 10. He's going to have Flaming Attack, Magical Attack, and multiple wounds D3 on top of that. So if he can avoid those crazy characters with Initiative 10 that do D3 wounds and all that, it's going to be perfect. He's going to be killing everything else. He has at least Strength 5, armor penetration doesn't matter, and a 4-up ward save. The 4-up ward save is going to be tricky though, because it's going to be very positional. There are ways to get rid of this ward save very quickly. He's going to hit, basically, if he suffers a hit or a wound, Pete, which one was it? Do you remember?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You can flush that pretty easy.
Yes. Anyway, he's going to have this 4-up ward save just for 1 turn. So if you can get rid of that, he's going to have just a 1-up armor save from this point on. And he's on the Karakadan, which is going to go in the unit of Chosen Knights. Most likely the one that has a Banner of Speed and Favor of Envy. The nasty thing about this list is it's going to be actually charging using 46 dice, using 2 highest. So it can get places. With the Banner of Speed, probably the normal charge distance the guy is going to be going for is about 18 inches. But I would be staying more than 20 inches. I mean, basically 20 inches or more away of him, because he can try to go even for double 6s with that. So besides this Chosen Lord, he has a unit of 17 warriors with Banner of Relentless Company. His sorcerer is going to be sitting over there most likely. He can march 15 inches, so he's going to be trying to avoid combat with this unit. He has 2 units of Fallen, which are basically chaff. They pack a punch with 3 attacks each for a armor save. Offensive skill 5, strength 4. They can do damage, but they're basically chaff. And 3 units of Chosen Knights. 2 units with the Favor of Greed, and 1 unit with the Favor of and the Flaming Standards, and 1 unit with the Favor of Envy and the Banner of Speed. Basically, this list is designed to be in your face as soon by turn 2. He's usually charging, but he's gonna have to avoid so many things and maneuver through so many things with Peter that I have to give a favor to dwarves in this matchup. I mean, I had a hard time maneuvering around this cannon, organ guns, those crazy guys that do try to initiative 10 and do D3 wounds or multiple wounds too. And I basically, the only way that I managed to get points of Pete was catching his general off guard. Basically, he was outside of the unit and I caught him by surprise, charging his artillery and overrunning into his general, and that was the only way that I saved points. Granted that my comet didn't fall for 4 turns. It gathered actually 8 tokens on it and it never fell down.
You had to love that, Pete.
He started pounding the table after like the 6th time he did roll, and it had 8 tokens on it. We rolled it out. It went after what was the 11th turn after you cast it. It would have gone off.
Well, this is a really solid list. I like this list, but Pete, I'm going to have to give this to you because all of his lords, other than a sorcerer, is going to be large, and both of your secret lords, they're easy prey for them.
I'd much rather see this than. What bothers me though is the magic. That's a wild card though, because if he can take out my artillery turn 1, he can. I don't know. I agree. I've got tools to fight it, but I definitely respect this list because Jake's a really good player. He tabled me at what was it, Hogfest with Dark Elves. I'd rather see this list than the Dark Elf list that did that. But yeah, he's definitely got tools to give me problems.
All right, shall we move on to the next one? So it looks like it's going to be Jurand and Austin. And we're going to have to speed this up a little bit because I noticed it's already 9:30 and we got a lot of lists to go through.
So as a vampire master, you can go through the list.
All right, so Jurand, I'll let you talk about your list here.
Okay, so I'm going to open it up also on my computer. All right, so what I have in my list is basically a vampire count. She's a general with wizard adept with the path of witchcraft with halberd, light armor, and she has also blessed inscriptions, which allows me to reroll failed to wound rolls and gain divine attack. So basically, it's 4 attacks, strength 6, AP 3. With divine and reroll to wound, and opponent has to reroll their successful ward saves. She has a magical heirloom, so she's going to have basically 2 spells of witchcraft and a hereditary spell, and the dead arise, so bringing new unit. And she is on the court, which basically gives all the opponents within 6 inches -2 to initiative and -2 defensive skill. So she has a 6-up, 4-up. Basically, she's going to be sitting in one of the 3 units of infantry. It's not really a surprise which one it's going to be. I also have a Necromancer. He's a wizard master with the path of alchemy, and he has an unholy tome, which basically allows me to have a Dance Macabre from evocation as a bounce spell level 4. 2 units of zombies that just core, chaff, something to raise, and have a target unit if I can get them to enough numbers. Units of 40 skeletons with spears and flaming standards. Unit of 2 bat swarms. They basically they are distracting, and they cause the unit that they are engaged with to have -1 offensive and defensive skill. 2 shrieking horrors. They are the fun guys. They basically fly 16. They have a shooting weapon that they can use also in a close combat. Basically, they shoot as many times as they have wounds left. So at the beginning they start with 6. If they take 2 wounds, their shooting attack goes down to 4. The shooting attack automatically automatically hits with strength 10, and it hits not against the toughness, but against opponent's discipline. There are also 2 units of Spectral Hunters. They do sweeping attacks, so it's a strength 5, AP 10 attack if they go through opponent's unit during their movement phase. They also cause terror. They have 2 attacks with great weapons, strength 5. They have 6-up armor save, and they have a 3-up ward save against non-magical things, and 5-up against magical stuff. And at the end, there's a Barkalak. He's a fun guy. He's a solo model that has toughness 5. He has 5 attacks, offensive 5, defensive 5, strength 6. With 4-up regen, he has hatred. He gets regeneration 4-up. I mean, he has also Vanguard, Swift Strike, Stomp. I mean, he does everything. So
Is that the big bat guy?
Or gnarly.
Well, he's the guy that he can be a chaff, or he can be a hunter for war machines, or he can be a sniper for wizards, or anti-chaff. He just has a multi-purpose tool that for 330 points I just couldn't resist taking.
I like it.
Well, this is a tough list. You've got a lot of stuff in here that's really, really tough to handle, and your magic complements everything nicely because you've got Flaming Banner, and then you can do alchemy, and the witchcraft with either the Shrieking Horrors or the Spectral Hunters is just brutal moving those.
Well, I try to be, to have a very fluffy list, no battle guards, no OP stuff, no dark powers.
Take a drink. Get this man a drink.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so you're up against Austin here. Let's pull up his list and looks like he's running some dwarfs.
Okay, Dwarf King. We have Runic Weapon, Rune of Might. I'll make him strength 5. Rune of Lightning. That's if he hits at least once, he'll get D3 strength 4 hits. He has a Rune of Resistance, which is like the old helm, so you reroll to wound against him. And he has a Rune of Shielding, which gives him a 6-up ward, so stacking with the shield from the front against normal close combat attacks over 4-up ward when he's charged, and a 5-up thereafter. And he's on Shield Bearers, which makes him, so he's a 1-up armor save, and he has 4 wounds. So pretty tanky king. The Thane, who has Rune of Lightning, so another one of those. He hits another D3. 2 Runes of Iron, so he's going to be a 1-up. And a Runic Standard of Shielding, so he gets a 5-up ward shooting your within 6 inches of him. Runic Smith. Let's see. 2 battle runes. So it looks like, I guess that's 2 spells. So you didn't buy the 3rd spell.
Yeah.
That's kind of surprising not to get that 3rd spell. It's kind of surprising not to take that 3rd spell.
Yeah, it's not that expensive. I'm surprised he wouldn't either. I think they're 20 points. I don't use magic in dwarves, but 1 more wouldn't be that expensive. Maybe just couldn't find the points. And then he has a Rune of Shielding, so 4 board. And Rune of Mastery, I'm the dwarf guy. I don't remember what that does now. I think that's reroll something for magic or something.
Rune of Mastery. Yeah, I'm drawing a blank on that too.
Let's look. Wait, I'm gonna look that up. That's Rune of Mastery.
While he's looking
okay,
it up, I can tell you some of the things that he's got on here that you said didn't understand. If everybody knows Austin, he usually comes and he goes after that painting competition every year. So he doesn't make the hardest list, but he is a really amazing painter.
He really is.
Oh, cool. All right, well, Rune of Mastery is you get a +2/+2 to the bound spell. So that's a good pick on that critical turn.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You say, well, instead of being normally it's a 5/8 to dispel. So if he uses 3 dice, it'd be a 10, or 2 dice is 7. That's pretty solid because really it's just that critical close combat turn you wanted anyway.
And you can do that once a turn?
No, it's 1 use only.
Well, okay.
Yeah, you save it for that. My big brick gets in his, and now we're casting spells. That's when you use it. That's good. So then, okay, so here he's got Anvil Power. He's got 3 spells with that. So that just kind of makes sense. He's got 5 spells total. That's fine. I don't think he didn't really need the 6th one, so I kind of understand his reasoning there. Anvil's nice and cheap. It's 185 points. Nothing you can buy for it. 25 Clan Warriors, heavy armor shield, nice little anvil. Clan Marksman, he's got crossbowmen, and they've got shields. Another unit of Clan Marksman. These are guild-crafted handguns. I love those. And he's got Deep Watch. So this is his big star there, the really tanky unit. And let's see. Oh, wait. No, I'm sorry. Wait, I'm looking at the wrong thing. No, it doesn't look like he has any standard for those. So, but they're going to be stubborn, and so have all his characters in that probably. And so they're going to be strength 4, AP 2, in addition to what his characters can dish out. 2 Vengeance Seekers, Great Chaff. Forge Wardens, which are Great Chaff clearers. They now hit on a 2+ always. That's wrong on the sheet. It's actually 2+ to hit in their strength 3, AP 0. But they're great for killing harpies or anything else that's going to threaten your artillery. Steam Carpenter, nice. You can dish out some wounds, and then chaff when you need it. And then what else? Scroll down a few ones. So you got 2 rune-crafted organ guns. Always a solid pick. It's a nice 30-inch radius zone of death. They are rune-crafted, so they're going to be strength 5 +1 to wound. So, and taking them out is not going to be easy because he's got the 2 Vengeance Seekers to guard them. And he's got those Forge Wardens are just like a chaff sweeper. If anything, like little gets in close, he's going to be able to probably take it out. So I actually like the list a lot. I don't like, it's a solid dwarf list. My only critique would be the king. I think he could have built a deadlier king. What a Deep Watch star, Big Brick of Deep Watch suffers to his monsters. And so usually what you do is you make your king with the strength 10 rune and multi-wound.
So he doesn't have a strength 10 and multi-wound on him?
You can't put that up.
He's strength 5 and he's got a rune of lightning, which I'm not sure what he was trying to do there. That's really not going to be effective for doing anything, but he's tanky. But I would have made him a monster killer. Other than that, I love the list.
Well, you can't make him a monster killer and have him on shield bearers, can you?
That's true, you can. So what you could do instead of that is you could give him a great weapon, make him strength 7 and multi-wound.
Right.
Or I'd take him off the shield bearers.
It looks a lot like a shooty list, though, with the BSB rune of shield or standard shielding. You know, gives him the 5-up, everybody within 6. So I imagine he's going to have those artillery pieces around getting that 5-up ward and kind of like a come to me kind of thing.
Yeah.
I have a question to you guys. So you said that he has a thing that forces his opponent to reroll successful to wound on him, correct?
On who?
Yep.
On his king. What happens?
He's very tanky.
So what happens with the 2 rerolls go together? So if he forces, for example, me to reroll successful wounds, and I have to reroll failed 2 wounds, do they cancel each other?
Yeah, I think they just
cancel because technically you'd reroll everything, wouldn't you?
That's what normally plays. It just cancels out.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you I'm gonna rule that as whichever rule is up is the one that you apply, and being that you can't reroll a reroll, somebody's gonna lose their rule. So if I'm rolling the hit, then and you make me reroll my hits, or if I have reroll hits, whichever one of those applies is going to be the one that happens. I've never heard of. I know that a lot of people play, they just cancel each other out, which has never been a rule. So usually,
it's actually been a rule in 1.3, I believe.
They said they canceled each other out.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, I missed that. Yeah.
Well, it must be something we should look into before that actually happens next weekend. Then,
if I were going to follow the letter of the rules, I would roll all my dice and acknowledge that I've wounded with some and not wounded with some others, and then both rules would make me re-roll all the dice again. So, so that's. I mean, it's like you just basically your first roll just wouldn't count. That's kind of why it cancels. I roll the dice for no reason.
well, I think the dwarves are going to have a tough matchup against the VC on this. The organ guns are great, but with the Vamp Lord being mounted, it would actually be better with 2 cannons on this specific list.
I think the organ guns are scary. 2 magical organ guns. Ugh.
Well, it'll take out your Spectral Hunters right away.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, the +1 to wound doesn't hurt either.
Yeah, the
Terror guys. Yeah.
The Terror guys aren't going to like that much either.
I know, but their base hit is. I mean, they don't have an engineer on them. It just depends. They're very RNG, right? But so, I don't think he's going to be able to stop both of the your big flyers. There's just too much, and they're not hitting. They're hitting base 4. If you roll 6, it's 5, and cover counts. So if you play it carefully, depending where he places them, you can push on one or the other and take it out.
Yeah, I agree.
There's also a Varkalak that's going to come in there as a missile right towards those organ guns.
It's too much for them to deal with. Vengeance Seekers will delay, but this is I think a bad matchup for Austin.
All right. So let's go to the next one. We've got Kurt and Wesley. So that'd be Ogre Kingdom. So I'll be up on this one. Actually, Kurt Armstrong. All right, so for the Ogre Kingdoms, it looks like he's got a Great Khan who's going to be his general, with Iron Fist, Death Cheater, and then the cut multiple wounds in half charm. So he's going to be a 4-up, 4-up with 6 attacks, strength 5. That's an all right general build, but it's not something that I would expect. Normally, I think of Ogre generals as being a little bit more killy than this. But he's probably going to have that in a unit of bruisers, which is going to do a lot of damage itself. We've got the Khan with Ghostly Guard. And I really like having the skull on here, giving them the automatically passing the panic chest by terror and fear, because when I'm running ogres, I never do make my my leadership saves. But he's got a BSB on there, so I mean, at least you get 2 chances at it on the other units. Shaman with Thaumaturgy, looks like a Wizard Master. All right, and then we're looking at 8 Bruisers, Musician Standard Bearer, 20 Scraplings. They're just going to be basically either redirectors or catching the objectives at the end. And 2 units of 8 Tribesmen, also Musician Standard Bearer on both of those with Iron Fist. A little surprised again, there's not a lot of champions in this, so that may come back a little bit if he needs to challenge out with any of his heroes, any of those units. But I like having the 3 units there of the core, because it's going to give him a lot of board control on there, trying to get through those.
Yeah.
And speaking of board control, you can't go wrong with 2 Saber Tigers.
No, you can't.
Those are some of the best chaff in the game. I love that he has 2 of these in here.
Yeah, he's. I can also say about my good friend Kurt. He right around just after Thanksgiving, he got sick, and he was out of commission for about 7 weeks, and he has slowly come back. So since probably November, he's played 2 games. So he's a little behind the times as well. So I think he's just put the list together, and he's going to just be a part of the weekend.
It's always good just to come out and roll some dice.
Yeah. To quote my good friend Pete, I'm playing 9th Age and I got a beer. What could be better?
That's a good one.
Well, I mean, and ogres are still a solid list, and I mean, he's got 3 Tusker calves, which are scary to really just about anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got the banner on the reroll all the ones, which I love that banner. It's the perfect unit to have that on. And then looks like he rounds out with 2 units of bombardiers, and no musician on them. So that'd be the one thing I would say for sure, is he should add a musician to the bombardier so they can move and shoot. Overall, real solid list. It's just going to be a matter of making sure he gets his cats up there so he doesn't get charged, and he can actually get the charges off.
Yeah, I think he's a little low on chaff in my opinion, but 3 blocks in core, that helps out.
Absolutely. And I mean, the scraplings aren't fast, but he can run them up there and get them in the way of something.
Yeah, I think that's probably what they're going to be, or a late game, keep them out of sight and then go jump on an objective or something.
Absolutely. We has plenty of scoring units to take care of the objectives.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Was he sitting on?
Tusker Cav scoring?
They are.
Wow.
So he's at 5 scoring units, I think. Yep.
Nice.
All right, and so he is playing Wesley. Let me pull up Wesley's list. All right, Empire. Pete, I think you're up on this one.
Okay, we got a Marshal, Great Tactician, 2 orders per turn, Imperial Seal, +3 armor and +1 discipline, and the Winter Cloak, Distracting Aegis, and he's got a Flame Order 2 up. So solid pick. Marshal is BSB, Death Warrant. Okay, so this is the combo he's going to do with the infantry block. So if he hits, then the unit he's in gains battle focus. which is really tasty. Black steel, so +1 armor and fear. And then he's on foot, so he'll get +2 armor. So he's was he a 1-up, I think? Or is it 2-up?
1-up.
He's a 1-up, yeah. Prelate. So he's going to grant hatred to the unit he's in. So we're going to have a nice infantry brick, is my prediction. They'll have both hatred and battle focus, which is just a ridiculously good combo. Base law infusion, so the +1 armor, and then 2+ versus flaming, and a lucky charm for 1 reroll. So the main thing, these are augment characters, which the Empire excels at in 9th Age. They're just the Empire characters to make their infantry so good. And then an Artificer for he's basically this engineer. We got 10 Electoral Cavalry.
I think you skipped over his wizard up there too. He's got a wizard master.
Whoops, wizard. He has a binding scroll. He is a wizard master. And he has cosmology, which is again great. He can get +1 to hit to some of his shooting elements, and a lot of other good cosmology spells, ice and fire, and so on. It's a solid list. Okay, so Electoral Cavalry. So 10 knightly orders with the Stalker standard. So Striders, don't have to worry about woods or anything. It's a great thing to have out of core. Light infantry, handgunners, pennants. So no -1 hit penalty, and I think you can give them. Can't you give them the orders? You can give them accurate, right? Or is that just plus range?
Yes, it's accurate. No ranges anymore.
Yeah, so they're basically like GC handgunners almost. Light infantry, crossbowmen, the long rifle and champion. So good shooting there. And then here it is. Okay, so the Imperial. Wow,
you knew it was coming.
38 Imperial Guard. Yeah.
Strength 6.
Yeah, strength 6. Do they get? It's tough to keep track of all their buffs. Don't they get lightning reflexes somehow?
No.
No, there is a card you can buff wagon you can have to give lightning reflexes, but because the agility is so low, 3, he doesn't take it.
Right. I know some people do that, but you're right. It's not, if you give him lightning reflexes, it's not going to help against a lot of people. So the main thing is you got 38 dudes that are strength 6 that are battle focused and rerolling the hit. It's a ridiculously good Death Star.
Right. You know what I say, Kenyon? I love me some strength 4 humans, right?
Can't get over that, can you?
Sitting there as an orc player. So.
They've been working it. Knights of the Sun Griffin. So 3 of those. Nice little flanking unit or to hunt down stuff. 5 riders. Nice for clearing chaff and for flanks and stuff. Artillery. So he has himself a cannon and a mortar. So those are 2 solid picks, right? You put some wounds on monsters and put some wounds on units. Or put a lot of wounds on monsters. I like the list a lot. He's got great shooting. He's got a really nice Death Star. It's all buffed up, good magic, and a lot of flanking units and decent enough chaff. So, yeah, I give it a big thumbs up.
Yeah, I think this is a really well-rounded list. It's got a little bit of everything.
Those 38 Imperial Guard, that's going to be tough to deal with.
Yeah, I think it can also surprise because the Electoral Cavalry, it has 1-up armor save. So even if you're 83, that means that they have a 4-up armor save. They can actually surprisingly well hold a unit of ogres. And the same goes with the Chicken Knights. I mean, they have 2-up armor save, but then they can still hold a unit of ogres for a while there. The only thing that he has to look out is not to let too many units get into his guard, because they're gonna hit and mow them down before he's gonna get to swing. Yeah. So as long as he can take them one at a time, he's gonna be fine. If the ogres are gonna figure out a way to get 2 or 3 units into that thing, they're gonna be gone from over there.
Yep. I'd also be firing as much as I could into that Imperial Guard with the cannoners or whatever they're called. I'd be trying to whittle it down some. Because if you can kill that, you've broken the back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But they are stubborn, so that he can still pull out some shenanigans and put them in the line formation and still hold them up for a while.
True.
Well, Wesley's got a solid list here. I'm going to give this one to Wesley. I think that the ogre's going to have a hard time overcoming everything here.
Yeah, I agree.
Wes is very tactical player. I give it slight edge to Wes also. I mean, like 12-8 or something like that, but I don't think he's going to be winning 20-0.
All right, let's see who's next. So we got Noble and Tom. So a little bit of Infernal Dwarves here.
Okay, I think that's me.
Yes.
Supposed to catch up on Infernal Dwarves. Well, Infernal Dwarves, this was a surprise for me as well, which he I'd never known he had that, so he broke that out. So it looks like he's got the prophet here as his general. They've got the Destiny's Call, or he's got Destiny's Call on him. So I believe this is the 3-up, 4-up ages. Yeah, that's what the Destiny's Call. He can also go out of the path of pyromancy, and then his Vizier is his BSB. And this guy with the Mask of the Furnace, it's an interesting pick. I like it. It gives +1 armor, and it has breath attack that are toxic attacks. Which anytime toxic attacks come up, that could ruin some people's day depending on how well you roll. This guy also has the Legion Standard, which is a good. I'm assuming that's going to go in with the unit of I forget what they're called, the Elite Immortal Guard. I'm assuming that's where you guys are going to go to help with that. And then, much like the Orc and Goblin guys, their Hobgoblins characters are pretty cheap. These guys put them on a wolf, and they're really good at being chaff. They can even go take out a war machine if they get some good rolls. Before 135 points, he's got 2 of them. I mean, you give them a wolf. They're 4-up armor, a couple of wounds, and they move 9 inches. They got the faint flight, so they're good chaff right there. I like those. Looks like for core, he's got Citadel Guard. And let me see what he's got on his Citadel Guard. So he just gave him 10 weapon shield, which Citadel Guard they're a little bit better than normal core. I think they're defensive 4, and they have a 3-up armor save, and then just like all Infernal Dwarves, they have a 5-up against flaming attacks. So that's a nice big block there. And Hobgoblins, looks like these guys have bows. Even with volley fire being changed, Hobgoblins with bows still aren't bad at all. They're not like a normal goblin from an orc and goblin army. They are offensive and defensive 3, so they're a little bit better, and they got a little better higher leadership and whatnot. And he's got another big unit of 29 that have looks like these guys are just no bows, just light armor and shield. So the parry comes in handy there. So those guys can do a little bit. And then the big Torek Anointed. These are the big Centaur guys, which I've seen a lot of people use a variety of different kind of models. So I'm curious to see what he's going to come up with for these. But this is a big unit of 6, and that's interesting because what is on that size of a model? What's the max supporting attacks you can get? Is it 3?
3, yes.
3. So there, I thought if you give him, let me see. Oh, he gave him great weapons. That's why. Most people give these guys paired weapons. So he's not losing any attacks, but I guess technically he's losing some stomps. He's got him a big unit of 6. But the banner of Shamut is a pretty good banner for 50 points, +1 offensive skill, and adds +1 to your combat res. So that's going to be a scary unit. They have devastating charge, which theirs gives them +1 armor. So when you give them paired weapons, they were initiative 4, or initiative 4 when they charge, and then you get they're higher offensive than normal. So that's the great weapons. That's interesting. I've never quite seen that on those guys. So we'll see how that works out. And then it looks like it's artillery, a couple of rocket batteries. Those are great. They can do. They got two modes of fire. Do the single shot or the area shot. Infernal engine. You can go either the shooty kind or the smashy kind. Looks like he went the smashy kind. It does 3d3 grind attacks, strength 6. Thing that I love about the Infernal engine, it's a really good chaff piece if you need it to be, in terms of holding units up so you can get that flank in or whatever, because it is unbreakable. It's toughness 7, so that can see that thing through a lot of problems. And
I've always wanted to have one of those and model as like Thomas the Tank Engine or something. I thought that would be fun.
I've actually, there's a guy, if you just Google search it, somebody got a Thomas the Train engine. And
That's hilarious.
it's really cool though. It's like really well done.
Zach,
I think it's our group.
yeah, Zach here in our group, he's had a legal. He has Thomas the Train for his engine.
Yeah, there's you can make it look pretty cool, and that's a cool model too. And then he finishes off with the Kadim Incarnates, which are great. Small unit of 3. A lot of people run these in 5s or 6s, but 3 doesn't bad anyway. That Volcanic Embrace is good. Looks like they changed. It's been a while since I played mine, but they now have battle focus.
They're solid.
Yeah, they are solid. So that's the list. Take a little bit of shooting. Got some good chaff. Be interesting.
I love the 2 rocket batteries. I've heard people kind of poo-poo them and say, well, if you do the math, they won't put that many wounds. But dude, you're throwing 4d6, strength 7 hits at range 48. I mean, you're going to take some toys off the table.
Yeah, a lot of people were hating on the high strength, low AP, but
You shoot war machines and monsters. They don't have a lot of armor usually anyway.
No, that's true. Yeah, that's true. So I like the list.
I think it's a solid list for sure. All right, and he is up against Tom, which is going to be VC. So with this one, looks like we have another Lamia bloodline. I really do like Lamia. It's such a good bloodline.
It's very fluffy, right? It's just
fluffy, yeah. So running commandment, definitely a solid choice there. Blessed inscriptions, and let's see here. He's going to have paired weapons with that. So just be strength 5. Destiny's Call, 4 up, 3 up, or 3 up, 4 up. And then witchcraft, which almost everybody with Lamia is going to have witchcraft on that. Pharaoh King, looks like with that, he's going to have Hero's Heart with paired weapons, and then the Hypnotic Pendant, giving all of the rank and file models parry in there. So that's probably going to go into Barrow Guard down here. Let's see, then we have a Necromancer Wizard Master with Evocation and Magical Heirloom. So 4 spells plus the Hereditary Raise spell. 8 Direwolves, so it's going to be able to count Direwolves as core. Looking at 33 Skeletons with Banner of Relentless Company to get them up where they need to go. 32 Skeletons, same way, kitted out, all with full command. All right, here's the Barrow Guard where the BSB is going to go, and they have the banner to give them the +1 to hit. And looks like they're running halberds, which is a really good choice with Lamia. The great weapons, it can be tempting on the Barrow Guard, but being able to make everybody's agility essentially go down with Lamia, the Barrow Guard with a halberd is a great choice. Mm-hmm. And then 5 Barrow Knights. So these are just going to be chaff and catching scoring at the end, because 5 Barrow Knights won't do much by themselves. There's the Court of the Damned, which is a staple in every Lamia list. So you're really going to be lower in the offensive and or the defensive side, and then the agility. So as long as it doesn't run up against basically any parry units that are real big, this main unit of Barrow Guard is going to mow through just about anything. 2 Phantom Host, be some very nice ethereal chaff. And then the Spectral Hunters to come around the side and either clear out chaff or be a real threat to even anything strength or toughness 4 or 5. So over.
Fast list for vampires.
What's that?
It is a very fast list for vampires.
Yes. It's fast. He's got plenty of stuff to take objectives. Big units, so it's going to be hard to get through any one of these units without really allocating something serious to get rid of him in turn one. And then he has enough stuff that he can flank with just about anything once he gets somebody held up.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing he's going to have to keep in the bubble to be able to march, right? Because he doesn't have a dark coach in there, does he?
No, there was no dark coach, so his 12-inch bubble is going to be very important for him.
Yes, he's going to have a path of witchcraft, which will allow him. He's going to be moving some of the units, probably the Spectral Hunters, trying to move them farther ahead of the army and move them through units. But other than that, he's going to be one big clump of models just going forward fast and in your face really quick.
I can relate to that. That's how I like to play my Lamia.
Guess where I got the picture from? Yeah, very power gaming. This big unit of Pharaoh Guard.
Yeah, I would say this matchup that's going to be really tough for Noble. I don't know if he has enough to actually break through any of this. And at a minimum, he can just march up and take objectives, and I don't think he can get him off of them.
That's a good point. Yeah, he's one of our new players. He's been about half a year now. He's been playing, and he's just gotten better and better. And I think it'll be a good matchup.
It's gonna be good for him to also to play against this list. He's gonna need to find flanks to get this to kind of spread the vampire around, because keeping this 12-inch bubble is hard to do. And you just need to walk around him and make him position himself and face different directions and try to find the combo charges.
Yeah, a lot of people think that vampires just push a button and go, but keeping your bubbles for your march and your raising is much tougher than people think it is.
Hard putting all those models on, isn't it, Mike?
That's why I have them all grouped in 5s.
I agree. It's so tough. It's so tough. Yeah.
VC problems.
All right, let's see who the next matchup is. Let me get some of these off here. All right, so we have Chris and Robert.
All right, Chris. If you guys remember Chris, he's the one that does our Wicked GT trophies, which are really amazing trophies. But he handcrafts those every year, and he's just all around nice guy. He's been gaming with him for about 20 years now. So he's been playing his orcs, and he's been getting a lot better with them. This is an army he had last year, and he's got some really cool conversions. If you recall, he made like a rock, and all of his giants are made.
Yeah, is it the Dwarf Goblin theme army?
Yeah, his spider and his giants are like, he pretty much made them out of rocks. Like,
Yeah,
he went outside and got rocks.
Cool. His army's really cool.
Yeah, so he's got a pretty cool army. But his general's an orc, a feral orc warlord that's on a wyvern. And he's got the one where it gives him Tuck-Tex guard, gives him the +1 resilience. He's got lethal strike. I think with this guy, he's got Hero's Heart, and once he's got his paired weapon and his feral, all that, I think he's up to 7 or 8 attacks. Once it's all said and done. So this guy, he can dish out some attacks, and with that Hero's Heart, he's strength 5. Then he's got I always like this one, the Pan of Protecting Pension, where he takes the whatever save you have, and so he gets to apply it to himself.
Now that you can put that on orcs, that is so good.
Yeah, it used to be goblins only.
Yep.
So then his chief is BSB. He's got this guy on a boar, and you can see the Talisman of the Void gives him the ability to channel. And he's got supernatural dexterity, +2 offensive, +2 agility. It gains magical, so right there running around on a boar. His shaman, he goes thaumaturgy on that guy. The heirloom, that's the other one we talked about, where it gives you your hereditary spell in addition to 2 others. And I believe, no, I was thinking something else. He's got a goblin witch doctor, little guy there with the book of arcane power. That one is pretty invaluable, gives him the +1 to his rolls. He's going out of witchcraft, and he got this guy, little guy on a spider. And again, it's target priority. He's just got so many different targets. In this one, it's kind of hard. You see this guy on a spider, you're like, I can smoke that guy, but there's so many other things you kind of got to focus on.
There's so much stuff coming at you with this list.
Yeah,
It's so fast.
yeah, and he's got a big unit of feral orc boar riders. I believe his BSB goes in this unit. Boar riders, their orcs are getting better. Core still aren't strength 4. But they're getting better. They've got they're getting the battle focus. They got their devastating attack as a +1 attack, so they get that. And the boars are strength 4, so those guys bring a lot of attacks. And then he's got a small unit of boar riders, and again, I think those are, they'll maybe some small units or some late game go claim an objective. And then he's got 2 units of 8 goblin raiders, which are good for, the chaff and go get some war machines here and there. He uses those really well. They got bows on them. They pick off a guy here and there. Actually, looks like he's got 3 now, huh? The unit of head bashers. Again, there's 11 of those, so he's got 2 big units of boar boys coming at you. And then right underneath that, he's got 2 scrap wagons, which he uses these really well. And these are, when you look at them, they're on the base, but he's modeled them. They're like big giant spiders, and so those are his scrap wagons. And he uses these really well. He kind of keeps them in the back, and they just kind of ping pong back off of his units, and they hit you right when you have just forgotten about them. They finally runs them into you. And then his 2 giants. Again, those things are made out of rocks, and they turned out really good. And I know he's a fan of how they made the giants a lot better, where the more you hurt them, the more attacks they get. He's a really a fan of that, so he had 2 giants there. Yeah, and then the big spider. You can't go wrong. I think that's kind of a staple of an orc and goblin army, is a spider. So like I said, it's a fast army. It's in your face real quick. There's a lot of targets. And surprisingly, as fast as it is, he doesn't play it as fast as, like say I would, because I'm a little more aggressive, but he's good at picking and choosing his battles, and, he puts his chaff where it needs to be. And a lot of times that he and I play, we won't get to combat till turn 3 or 4, because we're both just kind of playing the maneuver game, and he's good at it. So
yeah, very tactical player. Speed for him is not a theme of the army, but rather it gives him options.
Right, yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Very interesting list.
I don't think there's a single infantry model on here.
There's
yeah, this is an army. It's been about 5 or 6 years in the making, and he finally got it all put together. He was wanting to do an all-mounted orc army.
That's really cool.
Well, I guess giants are technically infantry, but
technically, yeah. We'll have to give him grief for that.
No stomping here.
That's right.
All right, and Chris is playing Robert. Let's see what Robert has.
Robert Bond.
Empire, I think.
Kingdom of Aquitaine.
Kingdom, there he is. And is that me?
I think that was Pete.
Oh yeah, I'm thinking. Okay, so he's got 2 damsels, Druidism and Shamanism. One's the Shamanism is a master, and so you can do that summoning, and the Druidism is in Adepts. And then we have a Duke. Let's see, Hero's Heart, Uther's Conviction, which is Aegis +1. That's good. It's very tanky. Black Knight's Tabard. So if he dies, he comes back.
That one is so frustrating.
Especially on the general.
It's very
Yes.
trolling. and then he's got Druidism, so he could possibly heal him back up. And he's got Vizier Renown. So if he rolls a 6, he does multiple wounds D3, which is a nerf from 1.3, but still very good. Not quite a cannonball lord, more like it's Bolt Thrower Lord now, but he's very good. And Paladin. See, questing. He's a BSB. As a cleansing light. He can do flame and magical attacks, which I've seen a lot of regen so far, so that would be good. Willow's Ward. +1 armor. Dragon Staff, so he gets a breath weapon. Virtue of Piety. So all rank of models in the bear's unit gain Aegis +1 and standard size unit. So is he on foot? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like he's on foot. So he'll probably be in. I think it's going to happen. So then he's got 2 Knights of the Realm. So 8 and 9. Let's see. Nothing there. Just 8 solid Knights. 2 units of 15 Peasant Bowmen. Peasant Levy for scoring. He's got 30 of those. With light armor shields, so they'll have parries. They can tank a bit. And then here we go. So there's where the BSB's going. So the Knights Forlorn with the banner of Roland. So shooting them, they're going to get an additional +1 to their ward save. If you shoot them. And that's a very good. It's a decent infantry unit. Bastard Sword, heavy armor shield. Let's see. Can't stand to shoot against him. And then 2 Knights of the Quest. And then 1 Treb. So very interesting. This will be a very interesting fight. It's about. I mean, it will be who gets off the charges, and then what do you have to countercharge? Positioning is going to be very key to this game. You've got 2 very fast armies. So that initial charge is going to be a big deal.
The orcs and goblins are actually faster than this list.
Yeah.
I actually like it because of that. He's not a standard Kingdom of Aquitaine. A lot of people, when they play Kingdom of Aquitaine, they just think about horses and cavalry units, and they forget about the infantry and trebuchets and stuff like that. I actually like this list very much because he's just not putting all his eggs into one basket and not just charging forward.
I think it's a balanced list between the knights and infantry units. Like normally, with Kingdom of Aquitaine, you just see like an all-knight army, or you see like the super peasant army. And
exactly.
I think this is like a nice mix of both. I think it's really cool.
I think it's a great list. And that Treb, aren't they Strength 4 AP2?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
They are so brutal against infantry.
Which the orcs and goblins doesn't have.
That won't help them
Well,
here.
not on this list, but on other ones. It's a good add-in.
Yes, I would take it definitely.
I would shoot that at his wyvern all day long, and it'll do D3 +1, I think, because clipped wings. So
I would
Absolutely.
say.
So the item he's got, when you kill his guy, he comes to special.
yes, with 1 wound and Aegis 3+ till the end of the turn.
So he technically could die twice in 1 turn?
Yes, it's possible, but he gets that 3 up board to help him out, try and prevent that from happening.
But it's a one-time use thing, right?
Right. Oh yeah, it's one time use.
Yeah.
But then with Druidism, I mean, if you don't watch what you're doing, I mean, he can be back up to full wounds immediately.
Right. That's the idea. It's nasty. Now and Robert's a really good player. He's won our monthly tournament twice now. So he's really good at it. And they're both with KO, and he's good at using it. This is the match to watch because they're both really good players. They both got fast lists. But they both got some. I don't know. It's very tough. I think actually the big block of infantry is going to be great for him because it can hold up to some charges and pin him, and then he can countercharge. So
I have to give this
edge to Robert on this, honestly.
I have to give to Kingdom of Aquitaine on this one.
I'm going to go with Kingdom of Aquitaine as well. I mean, the orcs and goblins, they can outmaneuver and get some flank charges and all that, but I think the Kingdom of Aquitaine list is really solid, and I would like to see that match. So, Mike, you just need to bring your streaming equipment over there and
like I said, this will be the one to watch. Must be a good one.
All right, so next up we have John and Kirk. All right, so Beast Herds, that's Kenyon.
Beast Herds. Looks like we got a Beast Lord with Fatal Folly, which is the Beast Tax enchantment, and any natural rolls of 1 against him to hit, he hits you back immediately. It's kind of a cool thing. I don't see it very often. Death Cheater is 4+ regen, +1 to armor. Crown of Horns is the standard take with your Beast Lord. And he's on a Razor Touch Chariot, which is the big thing about the Razor Touch Chariot is the +1 to charge distance bubble that it has. Looks like he's got a Centaur Chieftain with BSB, with paired weapons, and Dark Rain, which is also pretty much an auto include. If they get the first turn, you get -2 to hit to everyone in your army. If you get the first turn, that's -1 to hit in the opponent's turn.
Mm-hmm.
Soothsayer, Wizard Master, Ancestral Carvings, which makes him really kind of beefy in combat. Gives him +2 strength, +2 attacks, and distracting, I believe. Yeah, and distracting. So it makes the Soothsayer actually really good in combat. And he gave him Trickster's Cunning, which is the old what was it called? The Tricksters, the charm, whatever it was, the re-roll the wound. Re-roll successful the wounds against you.
Oh yeah, the what is it? Was it the Trickster Shard?
I don't remember what it's called.
Yeah, helm or something, I think.
And Seed of the Dark Forest, so you can throw that forest grenade out in the middle of the field.
Mm-hmm.
And he's on Path of Druidism, which works really, really well, in my opinion, with Beast Herds. And he is on a raiding chariot also. Looks like we got another Soothsayer, who's an apprentice on Shamanism, so he's just got the Awaken the Beast. So he has Ancestral Carvings also, so that makes him beefy in combat. And Corey's got a unit of 24 Wild Horns. Are they ambushing? Well, he's got the wild. Yeah, they are ambushing, and he's got the banners and a +1 strength in 1 round of combat. And it looks like he has another unit of 23 with the same thing, paired weapons and thrown weapons. So these guys are gonna pop up behind you and dump a bunch of thrown weapons on you, and then charge you and with +1 strength. Got another Wildhorn unit just with paired weapons. These guys are not. They are ambushing with the musician. Paired weapons, thrown weapons, same thing. Looks like 2 units of Centaurs, 5 of them, thrown weapons and paired weapons. And they are showing up. The Centaur Chieftain's going to go into one of these, and he can start out sober and then go drunk. So one of these units is going to be really versatile, and the other one's just going to be a hammer, just trying to hit you inside. And then,
could you remind me the sober drunk thing again?
So sober is Vanguard and light troops, and then drunk is devastating charge, +1 strength, and fearless. And then with the Centaur Chieftain with him, he has the looted booze, which means they can start sober, and then at the beginning of any turn, you can say like, "Oh, now they're drunk," and they can charge in and hit you really hard.
Oh, right. And the light troops means no scoring, right?
Correct. All right, and then 6 Minotaurs. You know, Minotaurs are just nuts. They do a lot of attacks. They reroll the hit. These guys have paired weapons with that. Of course, and banner speed, so +1 advance rate. That with the bubble from his general's chariot, because you guys are gonna.
And battle focus, yeah.
And he's got a Blackwing totem on there, so he can give himself an additional D3-inch charge.
Nice.
These guys are going to be the Scud missiles of the army.
Yeah. And
then lastly, a Gortak, which is always a good choice because they're crazy. They do pump out a ton of damage. It's a nice, well-rounded list. I like it. It's going for that slingshot Minotaurs concept, and then it's got I like the amount of ambushing units. I like because they're going to come up behind you and just take your chaff off the board real quick with the thrown weapons, and then hit you in the side.
All right, so let's take a look at Kurt's list. right, Jurand, how about you take this VC? I took the last couple.
Okay, let me open that here. Okay, so we're gonna have a vampire with Weapon Master, Brotherhood of the Dragon bloodline. So +2 defensive skill, +2 offensive skill, plate armor. He can take a number of close combat weapons, and he has a Weapon Master. He's a wizard adept with the path of occultism, so I believe he's going to be going a lot for trying to permanently decrease the weapon skill of the opponents. He's a 2-up, 4-up, basically 5 attacks with strength 3, AP 3. He has a Blade of Truth Thirst, which is not as strong as it used to be, but it's still +1 strength, +1 armor penetration. And he recovers, he has a vampiric 3+, and for each unsaved wound, he raises 1 health point of the rank and file models. And he's a Legend of the Black King, so heavy armor enchantment and basically for ages. He has then a smaller vampire with Weapon Master, also the same bloodline. With Eternal Duelist, so natural to hit and to wounds of 1 have to be rolled, and Magical Heirloom, Talisman of Shielding, and Path of Occultism. Then the Pharaoh King with the Hypnotic Pendant. Okay, so the Pharaoh King is going to be distracting, and all the rank and file models that the Pharaoh King is going to go to are going to gain parry. And he has a 4-up armor save. And he rolls the field armor save. And then he has units of 30 goals and units of 23 goals. And a unit of 39 skeletons, units of 6 dust. Jeez, that's a lot of wounds. Altar of Undeath. That's... Which one is it? The Altar of Undeath is the shooting one, correct, Mike?
Yes.
So the Altar of Undeath is actually going to get nerfed in the next patch that's coming around. What it does is you can choose, either you can shoot 18 inches with D6 +2 hits, and they're always AP2 and they're always strength equal to the number of the turn number. So if you get this thing past turn 3, it's becoming really good. Also, it has a second way it can shoot. Instead of shooting 18 inches, it can shoot 12 inches aura. So all the units within 12 inches, they take D6 hits the same. AP2 and the strength equal to turn number.
Yep.
And on top of that, he has a unit of Barrow Guard, who they have full command, great weapon. So they're going to do multiple wounds against standard size. They have a bodyguard for all his characters, and they have a banner of, I'm not going to pronounce this name. Basically, the unit gets +1 to hit, or if the unit is unengaged, he can give the +1 to hit to a friendly unit within 6 inches of the bearer. Oh, jeez, and another unit of Barrow Guard, 19 Barrow Guards with health, and shield, and a unit of 5 dire wolves. Okay, so he is gonna basically take the whole table and just slowly march to you.
Yes.
So I don't agree with the 20 Barrow Guard with great weapons, because it's just not enough. You'll die before you get to swing, and then even with bodyguard, I think he'll crumble out if you hit him with much of anything.
I think he's gonna have them kind of behind, not the main force, and he's gonna give either give 6 of gas or 30 ghouls +1 to hit.
Yeah, he'll tank with the ghouls. Is this a full-on ghoul star, as they call it, or is he missing some?
No, he's definitely missing some items, and he also doesn't have champions on these, which I'm a big believer in champions, but in vampires on these you definitely have a champion, because every other turn it comes back, so you can challenge stuff out just all game long.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think he went in numbers, not in quality, but he has some shenanigans that he can pull off, especially with the occultism, and he's going to be raising and putting new units in there.
I like the Crimson Rage on his vampire count. I mean, it's definitely the Brotherhood of the Dragon's going to be a tough one to get through.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm thinking the Beast Herds probably have enough combat to get through this.
I think
Beast Herds have a lot of stamp also, and he's going to be coming in from the behind or on the sides, and the vampires are going to have a hard time against that.
Yeah, if the Beasters getting enough pressure right up in front, and then also get a flank charge in with them, like I think they can start crumbling the line.
Yeah, I agree.
And with so much infantry needing raising, if they come in from the back, that stops his raising completely. So it's going to force him to stay against the back of the board until all the ambushers come in.
Yeah, I feel like
that's what I would do also.
The vampires are going to need the castle, basically.
Absolutely. I think this is a rough matchup for Kurt. I think that he'll have to castle and really hope to weather a couple rounds of combat.
Could be tough. Yeah, that Beast Herds is in your face quick.
Because he'll be able to multi-charge one particular unit with all those fast units and just blow through it before you were talking about getting swing. He'll pop the barrel guard units pretty easily.
Yeah, bringing the units is going to be also a key, just so he can take the charge on the overrun and then counter charge into a flank or something. It's going to be tough. It's a positional game.
And he doesn't have anything really to chaff up other than 5 direwolves, which I just think he's a little light on chaff to keep them from hitting him quickly.
Yeah.
All right. So next up we have it's going to be Jeff and David.
All right, Jeff's list. Looks like we got a Saurian Warlord, Touch of Greatness, +1 Strength, +1 AP, Potion of Swiftness, which does help out with Saurus, Starcard, which is always nice. It's gives a hard target, so cannons are really going to suffer from that. And then on the big old Alpha Carnosaur.
Alpha Carnosaur.
He is beast. Looks like we got a Sorin Veteran BSB, Talisman and Shielding, Talisman of the Void. Just pretty standard there. A Skink Priest with he's an adept on Druidism with the Sun Tablet, so he can choose any of the 6 options for spells, and he has staff. The cool thing about the J staff is when you're running Druidism, you do get the benefit from the Oaken Throne, which is really nice. But the weird thing about this is that he's not. I don't see where he's going to be in the army. He's not on a Taurosaur. He's not on a Palanquin. He's just running around by himself. But I know Jeff does like to do that, so I'm interested to see where he puts him. Let's see. 34 Saurus with Banner of the Relentless Company, so the Triple March.
What are those guys? Are they marked with anything? Serpent and Spear.
Oh, Serpent. So Serpent and Spear. So he's tacking on 4 ranks, and +1 agility. So he's agility 3, 4 now? 3
unless he's charged.
Yeah.
Then he goes to 5.
Yeah, exactly. It's a really good upgrade on Saurus. We got 2 units of 5 Raptor Riders with lances. Pretty just strikey units. And then he's got 2 units of 3 Ramphidons, which are the frenzied ones that are battle focused, that you mark 2 units and then they do extra amount of damage to those 2 marked units.
They're nasty.
Yeah,
they are. And Jeff knows how to play these guys.
Yeah, he does.
They're really glass hammers. They don't stand up much to shooting. They have a 3+ armor, but they're only resistance 3. Let's see. We have a Taurosaur with Engine of the Ancients. It can help out with Druidism, or it's going to give him that bubble 5+ Aegis. And then he has a Stygiosaur with the, what is it called? The Wizard Conclave thing.
The Mystic Traveler.
Mystic Traveler, that's what I'm trying to say.
what does that allow him to do? It's Swarm of Insects.
He can choose between 4 spells, 2 out of 4. He can do the first 3 from Shamanism, which is Awaken the Beast, Swarm of Insects, or Savage Fury, or he can take the Hereditary. And the Sigilsaur is great. He's fast, and he's also has the toxic breath weapon, and he gets D3 stomps. It's a really well-rounded monster. But overall, I really, really, really like this list. It is the epitome of a push to the middle, like push into combat as fast as you can list, and I think it's going to do that job really well.
Yeah. And he's done a good job of protecting. I think as good a job as you can do of protecting the Alpha Carnosaur from getting cannoned off the board or something.
Yeah.
Yes, he's really good about that. And overall, he's just a great player that really knows what he's doing.
Yeah. He's Team USA ETC this year. He's a really solid player. Won a lot of GTs.
Yeah, he's a great player. He's a good guy too. But no, I think this list is really strong. It's really in your face.
All right, so shall we go to David's list?
Okay, so we have Dwarf King with 2 Runes of Might, Rune of Destruction. So that's a solid offense. He's going to be Strength 6, multi-wound D3 versus everything. 2 Runes of Shielding. So with the shield, it'll stack to basically a 4-up board at the center versus most everything. So he's going to be a 1-up, 4-up. And he's on a War Throne, so that gives him, I think it's 2 hatreds. So he'll have 3 hatreds total to distribute amongst the opponent's units. And then did he take? He didn't buy another one, but he didn't really need to. So that's a really, really badass king. It's a shame War Throne lost Swift Stride, but whatever. I won't limit that now. But it's still very. He's a tanky king. He's got 6 wounds, 1-up, 4-up, toughness 5, and then he can do a lot of output. So strength 6, multi-wound D3 is nothing to sneeze at. Love that build. And he's got a Battle Standard Bear with Rune of the Forge. I think it's 2 board versus fire. He has a Dragon's Breath, a breath weapon, Relentless Company banner, and he also is on Shield Bearers. So he made his Thane also very tanky. He's a 1-up, 6-up, and 1-up, 5-up in the charge with 4 wounds. So it's not going to be easy to take him out. Then he's got a Smith. 3 battle runes, Rune of Retribution, which is if you do a wound to him, I think you take the same hit back. So he's basically saying, don't strike my Runic Smith. And then he's a 4-up ward. I think it's if you use ward save, you take the, I can't remember. And he's also got a Dragon's Breath. So they've changed it in 0.204 that you can't use multiple breath weapons in the same combat during the same combat round, but not in this tournament. So he could Alpha Strike and do 46 strength 4 hits.
And he's very good at doing that.
Yep. Yeah, that's solid. And he's got a handful of power, so he's running 6 spells total. He's got 20 these guild crafted handgunners. Yeah, guild handgunners. That's I know I love those. So that's really solid. It's almost like a little mini organ gun. They're so good. And then if they need to, they can form up and be rather tanky as well with the shields and score. And he's got 23 clan crossbowmen with and they have, that's interesting. He gave them a runic standard of wisdom, so he can put a rune on that casts only on them. So I'm wondering what he's thinking to do with that. Maybe the movement rune or something. But in any event, he can so he can use that. He's got essentially 7 bound spells. Then 21 Deep Watch with the shielding banner, so 5 aboard versus shooting. That's the Death Star that all those characters are going in. Hold Guardians, 6 of those. And then let's see. And so he's got standard the holds, so he'll count as 3 ranks instead of 2. At least at the beginning. They're a very solid unit. They're hard to move and they do a lot of output. They used to suck, but they've definitely been improved to be worth taking. And then 2 steam copters for chaff. So no artillery. This is I don't think, right? No artillery. So This is a get in your face list. Let me see. Did he give Vanguard any of his core units?
I don't think so.
Because okay. Doesn't look like it. So no, I couldn't have anyway. So yeah, so this is sort of a. I mean, he's got shooting. He's got decent shooting with the two. All his core is shooting, and then it's sort of a run up and get the objective and dare you to come into his big brick. And if you, I mean, whatever you bring in there is going to be under threat because he's having heavily magicked up. That deep watch unit, it's hard to move without magic. You can try -1 to wound and -1 to hit on it, and try and do wounds. And he's got that general to take care of enemy characters and monsters that come in. So. Yeah, I mean it's point denial too because most of its points is going to be that one brick. So I mean, there was a time where I would have said, well, he's probably going to get outmaneuvered, and you know it's limited what he can do. But a list like this actually took best dwarves and best general at corner hammer. So yeah, it's a solid play style.
Yeah, I like that. The general and the BSB, he's got 1,100 points put into that, and it's like you said, points to now you can either come and try and die, or just leave it alone. 1,100 points to the good.
Well, and Runic Smith's going in there too, giving him the +1 armor penetration, and
yeah, he's got 1,500 points of characters right there. They're all in one unit.
And David knows how to play this list. He is very good with this. If there was one matchup I would like to watch, it would be Jeff and David because both of them play each other's armies. And David plays a list that's almost identical to Jeff's with Saurian Ancients. So they're going to know exactly what each other are up against. And it'll be interesting to see who outmaneuvers the other and ends up on top.
I think Jeff is going to kill around his Death Star. Honestly, I don't know that he can go. I don't know what Jeff takes into that Death Star. The Alpha Carnosaur, I think, will die if he takes it. I could be wrong. He might kill that king, but it's really risky.
I think he's dead if he goes after that king.
I think the Jeff's got a lot of attacks, a lot of offense, but I don't think it's enough to bust that tank unit, the Death Star.
That'd be a good matchup.
Especially not with magic, because if any dwarf magic's F on it, I don't think he'll get through it.
Yep.
All right, getting close to the end here. So we got Justin and Alex. So Justin.
Oh, Justin.
Yeah,
I won of Adepticon, and he handed my butt to me.
He's just a good player. That's just all there is to it.
Good player. Let's see here. We got Aura the Fiery Heart Master on what is he taking? On Alchemy, on a dragon, a big dragon. I mean, not the biggest dragon, but not a young dragon, the medium dragon. We got Hero's Heart, gives him +1 attack. Star Metal Alloy, which I don't know what the first bears. Oh, it does multi-wounds. And then a Binding Scroll. I think this is a really cool build because with the Hero's Heart, because with the Aura of the Fiery Heart, when you cast one of your spells, it gives the +1 attack and +1 movement to the wizard and the dragon. So it's going to be a lot of attacks out of him. And he's a total of a... Well, the armor's not showing up here.
Well, this is the big dragon, right?
Oh, is this the big dragon?
Yeah, he's a 3-up on that guy.
No, this is the medium dragon.
1135 is just a medium?
Yeah, there is a bigger guy also.
He's got a lot of toys.
Yeah.
Wow.
Double breath weapon.
Moving down, you got a BSB Master of the Krennic Tower, which is I see this a lot with in my meta here in San Francisco. A lot of guys run this guy. He's really well rounded, and he all of his attributes, because he's Protean magic, and then all of the attributes to all the spells he chooses from are healing waters, or the druidism attribute. So he's just constantly healing his friends around him, and it's really well done.
Dragon medic.
Yes, exactly. Let's see. We got 29 spears with the flaming standard. 29 spears with the flaming standard. It looks like both those have musician standard. Is there a champion in there? No, I don't see a champion. Oh, yeah. There it is. Yeah, full command. Then 13 archers, just looks like regular old archers with a musician. 1 sky sloop. I believe there's a second sky sloop on the second page.
We got big unit flame wardens.
Yep, keep going down. 2 eagles and 2 reaver chariots.
You don't see those very often.
Yeah, and he uses them really well.
They're
And
cheap.
they're super cheap, yeah, so they can do some stuff. They can pack punch.
Justin he likes to hold them back for as long as he can, and then he brings them in. They're really good.
Very tactical player.
I like the combo of the fiery heart on the dragon with the 2 units of spears with flaming standards.
Yeah.
It's a really strong combo. Really strong.
Yeah, because I also have a problem hitting that, a problem wounding, so getting that reroll to wound is key.
Yeah, exactly.
I actually got to play this list, and the key to this list really is getting rid of the dragon, not allowing dragon to get into you. Also, not allowing 2 of the units, like spears or the flame wardens, to get the combo charge on you. I failed at that, and it was really tough for a moment. I actually don't like the tower guy, the master of the tower, however you pronounce it. It's basically the only weakness that I see in this list is against big monsters. I think the divination and the Asphalt Wizard with extra range is much better for high elves, but it's just a different approach to the list, and very popular one.
Yeah.
Just don't get the dragon into your units.
Well, and there's not many cannons in these lists, so he's actually doing really well coming with a dragon.
Yeah, I was silver stacking him every turn.
This is a very solid list.
Yep.
All right, and he is playing Alex. Rob, I don't know if we got a new list for Alex or not. I don't know if this is old list because I think he was going to change it quite a bit. Do you know if this is the correct one or not?
I believe this is the correct one. Let me see the last thing he said to me. But there was something to do with the way it added up or something, right? It was right, but that's what I thought, that it just wasn't adding right, or
There was a core issue or something?
That was the other
His
list.
grip
So
on
we
had
didn't.
20 points too much. I mean, it costs
that's what
40
it was.
points.
He had too much. He was like over by
20 points, yeah.
point or
And
something.
then his second list was completely different than this, but it had core issues and issues with War Machine. So why don't we just do this one, and then if he changes it, we'll update it.
I think this one was it. Yeah, but I'll shoot him a text right now.
Okay, so we have a Knight Commander, Titanic Might, +3 Strength, magical attacks, Talisman of Shielding, so Aegis +5, and then he's on a Young Griffin. We have a Marshal. He has Great Tactician, so 2 orders, Death Warrant. That's the battle focus again, so we all know what's coming. This is another. Oh yeah, and there's a Prelate, so he's going to put that in infantry and then have a Hatred battle focus infantry brick. He's got Death Cheater with them. That's all solid, so regen and 1+ armor. And oh wait, no, he's on a horse. No, I take that back. So this guy's actually going into Cav. Okay, so then we have a Marshal who says BSB and then Destiny's Call. So just there, just keep him alive. We have a Prelate, Cleansing Light, Magical or Flaming. Magical and Flaming, and we have a Wizard, Adept, Path of Pyro. Then we have Electoral Cavalry, Knightly Orders, and a Banner of Speed. And that's where the other guy's going to go. And then we have 20 State Militia with paired weapons. We have 5 Riders, and scroll down. Thank you. 25 Flagellants, Steam Tank, and then Volley Gun. Did I miss something? I missed something, didn't I? Can you scroll up? I'm sorry. I missed a big block of infantry, didn't I?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there we go. 47 Halberdiers. That's important. So 47 halberdiers with household standard. It's like, wait a minute, I missed the big brick of infantry. So there's a big brick of infantry. The prelate will go in there, and let's see, household standard. Okay, so that's his big bunker too for all his characters. So they won't get battle focus, but they will get hatred, and that's a lot of halberdiers. I guess we'll be hitting at strength 4. Not as threatened by that nearly as the Imperial Guard, but there are more bodies there, so it's going to tar pit for longer. And then he's got a volley gun and a mortar, so that's interesting. And then a steam tank, and then 25 flagellants. That's interesting. That's a lot of close range threats. So different kind of list actually. It's similar. You got your infantry bricks and your support units, and then 2 artillery pieces. But it's going to play a bit different because it's not such all your threats in the Imperial Guard. He spread it out amongst infantry a little bit.
It seems kind of like a Steam lock release. It's like if everything will go right, he can deal with those highborn elves. Like if the tank can shoot at the dragon, and the mortar, if it can shoot the spears or wardens, and so many things. But if he cannot deal with this dragon, he's gonna have a very hard time.
I agree. Bergie is gonna steamroll this unless he loses his dragon. I feel like it's the high elves will take this.
Well, look, he's a pyromancy. He has the mortar, so he has things to take care of his infantry. The only he can take all the Bergie's models besides the dragon. The only thing that can take the dragon really is the steam tank, unless the mortar kind of hits him in the head and that do the DC wounds and finish him off. But he has a lot of things to deal with the rest of his army. The crucial point is if he can get the dragon off the board before the dragon gets to his infantry.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree.
Does the steam tank still shoot a normal cannon?
No, it's weaker cannon. It's like a strength 6 or 7, something like that, right?
7, D3.
Okay. Can still do some considerable damage though.
Yeah.
Still clip wounds,
I think.
Yeah, be interesting.
I'm wondering how the volley gun will play into this. Bergie will try to probably kill it with alchemy, but I think what the range of those alchemy spells? He's got silver spike.
Well, yeah, that's 36.
Last is 24.
Yeah. I think that volley gun's going to get to shoot. He doesn't have a lot of shooting. It depends on where he places it. And he's got the small unit of archers and then 2 sloops, and that's his only shooting. So he really needs to kill that volley gun. And then he can just come in and probably crush him.
Yeah, I got to get that dragon down.
Yeah, it's going to come down to the first couple rounds of shooting on both sides.
Yeah.
I have hopes for the Empire. I really hope that he can take down the dragon. And if that happens, then just go forward and just slaughter everything.
All right, and then so Jeremy is not paired up yet, but it looks like we're gonna be getting a ringer in for this. So let me just pull up his list.
Hopefully, we get a full-on paid player, and I don't have to have a ringer.
That would be nice.
Excellent.
Anybody on the fence?
Sign up.
Come on.
All right, so he did not bring the Weaver Demon Engine combo this time. It's like a list he normally runs, but he took 2 Demon Princes instead of those. So we got Demon Prince of Lust with his Wizard Master with Divination, Ironhide, so his armor's at 2, and then the Lash of Lust, which is a nice shooting weapon. Then another Demon Prince of Lust with the Shackles of Ralgy, so he's regen 4. So trying a little different monster combo this time. 3 units of 12 Slaughters. Always good troops. He has his unit of Horrors, which he brings with the Conclave. So he'll get 2 spells with those. Blazing Chariot, which is basically a bolt thrower or like a little mini volley gun. And then a Blood Chariot, which is a nice flaming cannon, which is going to give certain armies a lot of trouble. And then 4 Crusher Cav, which are, let's see, the Demons of Wrath, took blood swords for those. So I think that's lethal strike. And then he's got this is new. So he's got two clawed fiends. These are the really fast ones. So these are gonna like get in behind the lines. I think they're move 10, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah,
they don't fly, but they're super fast.
Yeah.
So he's gonna come in behind and they're not easy to kill either. So you're gonna come in behind and pick up soft targets in the back line. And then 5 Furies, which do what Furies do. Chaff for war machine hunting. So yeah, I like the list a lot. That Weaver list always scared me. I guess I don't know, maybe hasn't had a lot of luck with it, but when I played on UB, I had one that had like 15 attacks by turn 3 or something ridiculous.
Double Demon Prince isn't.
But yeah.
Either.
Well, he is also good to list versus what's coming to a tournament. I mean, divination and the cannon is gonna do a number on those big monsters, like the dragons lists and the list with terror guys and stuff like this.
Right.
Yeah.
This is a very well-rounded list. I see him doing well against multiple different army styles.
I think he's going to win against the blank spot, whatever that is.
And he doesn't have any counters against him.
He's gonna beat up the Ringer pretty bad.
Nah, Ringer got it. He got it.
All right. Well, that's all the lists. So thanks so much for everybody joining us and going through the list for the next weekend.
All right. We'll see you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Rob, thank you for running the tournament.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Rob.
Looking
Yeah,
forward to it. I got the best general categories. One of them was 4, 2 had 5, and 1 had 6. So they evened up pretty well. So
Good spread.
Pretty even. Nice.
good luck on that. So I'm looking forward to it. Again, if you get in Friday, you're welcome to come up, open gaming, and we'll have the bar set up, and we're gonna be there late both nights, and we'll make a weekend out of it.
Heck yeah.
All right. Looking forward to it. See everybody next week.
All right, see you guys.
See you guys.
Peace.